Let me fix that. Text prison story, family salute. Y'all, it's your boy Tim Snow. Back here with another one, man. Hope everybody's doing all right. Let me get this all shared out before we get started here. Let's see. Oh, guess that's not going to work. All right. Apologize. Anyway, hope everybody's having a good day, man. I got a few things I want to talk about for sure. I seen some tragic stuff on the news I want to talk about, but I wanted to talk a little bit about these prison videos that have been being leaked out by the correctional officers. It's a little bit more to it, I feel like. It's kind of, hold on one second, excuse me. Get this all shared out. Appreciate it. Y'all drop your location. Let me know where you're watching from. All right, I apologize. Welcome to my trolls. Are you already here? Man, oh man, it's going to be a fun night. Shaw, what's up, Shaw? Debbie, salute. I wanted to talk a little bit about these internal security videos that are leaking out because that's something that hasn't happened too often in the past. They do. So I know for a fact, right? If something happens inside of a prison, like a stabbing, riot, officer attack, whatever, it's kind of common knowledge that the COs, whoever has access to the video, will go in there, film the video, take it home on their phone, stuff like that. And the practice is so common that when something like this leaks, they have no idea who did it. They don't even know what shift it came from. They are clueless, right? But 9 times out of 10, people are scared to do it, and I got to respect it, right? If you get caught, you're literally maybe facing some type of little charge, but you definitely lost your job. And these people have careers with retirements and government benefits and all that type of stuff. But the truth is, prison is a war zone, right? It's guards against inmates. That's the bottom line. Might be friendly fire, like it's passive war, right? They're not actively fighting and attacking each other every day, but it's a war of control. It's a war of power, all of that type of stuff. Whack, what's up, cuz? It's a war of just constant back and forth. You know what I mean? And we've said it before that they have to assert themselves in some type of violent way to control violent men. That's just common sense, right? These guys are in prison. They aren't there for following rules. They don't care about authority, regulations, none of that shit. That's irrelevant, right? So how else do you control them? By confinement and by violence. The confinement part is the prison. It's solitary inside of a prison. It's locked down. It's the prison itself. But when confinement no longer works, then what do? I mean, if I was in charge of a prison and you couldn't act right, I mean, I believe I would, Keisha, what's up? I seen that, sis. I'm shit. You know, right now, shit. I got to pay karate tomorrow and everything else, girl. I'm sorry. You know, I send it when I can, but I haven't been working enough right now. But anyway, control them with confinement, right? And violence. Point blank, period. 24/7 confinement is illegal. Violence is illegal. But we're seeing in these places right now that it's a little bit of mixed lines, I guess, a little bit blurring of the rules and regulations on both sides. Because the first video that came out was an aggressive officer. This man literally was asking for it. What the war we don't talk about, the non-obvious war, is the I don't know how you would say, the good guards against the bad guards, right? So there are good ones. There are ones that don't like violating people's rights. They don't like seeing people hurt. They don't like seeing people suffer since they're already in prison. But they're the ones that can't really speak out. They're the ones that'll get blackballed. They'll be labeled inmate friendly, all that type of stuff. Well, that was the ones that released the first video the other day. They were putting a lot of pressure on this man. They were getting ready to do some bad stuff to him, probably still have him indicted right now. So the I won't call them inmate friendly officers, but the human right side of the officers are the ones that released that video. We'll show you how petty that it gets though, right? That happened in North Texas. Boom. A prison from Ferguson on the non-human rights side releases a video showing an inmate attacking a woman, counterbalancing out the bad look, right? Then, boom, fire back with the next one, with the man beating the guy with the iron bar that happened several months ago. Do not think it was an accident, the timing that a video gets leaked from several months ago. You understand? So both sides of these guards are firing back at each other, but they're both breaking the law. Like, you can't, so you can leak the video out and everybody understands why you did it when it was the officer's fault. But when you leak the video out showing the inmate, when we already know that happens on a regular basis, right? You just kind of made your whole institution look bad. Damn, not only is there one guard willing to release stuff, there's three of them. Imagine how Huntsville's shaking in their boots right now. Huntsville is shaking in their boots right now. There's so many cases of neglect, so many cases of officer assaults, inmate attacks. I mean, on both sides, right? If they keep dropping out these videos showing inmates attacking prisoners, it's already hard for them to get employees. You think that's going to get any easier? Think about it. I know it's not. Josh, what's up, Josh? Debbie, salute. And you ain't lying, Wack. That's for real. So the deal is, though, literally, think about it. You are trying to hire more employees. Your employees are dropping out videos showing how dangerous it is. You're not a happy boss, are you? Shakedown Shorty. The Shakedown Shorty was a trip, man. He was there when I was there. Sure was. Shakedown Shorty never ran out of energy either, you know. Shakedown Shorty was an officer in Beaumont that would just randomly say, hey, come here, start frisking you, shaking you, doing all kind of stuff. And he'd find shit all day, every day. It was pretty amazing. You know, hey, I wanted to talk about something too on the news, though. I don't know how long I'm going to stay live tonight. Yeah, Jesse, listen, I was just watching the Houston news. It's breaking news where a family took a Uber. And when they were getting out their Uber, their daughter somehow was in the way of the Uber and he ran her over and she passed away. And the family pulled the Uber driver out and started attacking him. And he had to go to the hospital. What do y'all think about that? Tell me in the comments what you think about that. I'll say that again. A family in Houston was just earlier today, taking an Uber. When they get out of the Uber, their daughter somehow gets in front of the Uber. The Uber driver doesn't realize, and then he runs the little girl over. And she's now deceased. The family drags the Uber driver out and beats him down. Would y'all have done the same thing? Do y'all think the family's right or wrong, or what? I can't lie. I do feel like if an Uber driver or anybody ran my daughter over, I'd probably do the exact same thing and then probably apologize later after I calm down. You know what I mean? But that's a breaking case right now. Hopefully the Uber driver doesn't pass away in the hospital, then all them catch a murder case or something. That's kind of tough. Hey, Wax say police like that on a level 4 gets hurt. Yeah, shit. Here too. That's the thing, Wack. You know what I mean? I showed a video earlier today. That's what I was talking about, where a cat in Hutchins' unit, he got out of his cell. He played dead, right? He played possum, laid on the ground a cop opened the door, scared he was hurt. He jumps out, grabs some kind of bar off the food tray, beats the lawman 20 times with an iron bar. The video from yesterday was a correctional officer lady on Ferguson, maximum security, and she had wrote the man some cases, and he was up for parole, so he come across the desk and beat her silly. And the one before that, that was day before yesterday, so they've dropped out 3 in 3 days. That was on Bill Clemens' unit. The CO was just really pushing his luck, man. He was yelling and screaming at the dude. He ran up and got all in his face. And the inmate was trying to restrain himself. Then he just cocked back and put that boss man to sleep. It was one hitter quitter. He didn't try to jump on him, kick him, none of that. He just punched him. D, what's up? Good evening. Yeah, for sure, Marco, crime of passion. But you know what? I've never personally known anybody to use that defense in Texas and get away with it. Crime of passion is pretty basically temporary insanity, right? And I'm sure there's some people that's had some real high-priced lawyers that may have beat that before, but I don't know any. I'm not sure, honestly. Yeah, Jesse, people don't realize they're actually, I mean, come on, that's human nature, right? Yeah, Wack, I need to see that video. That might have been a cell extraction. Our death row is different than out there in California. It's basically 23 and 1. Smoking, what's up? Good evening. It's 23 and 1 here, right? You get 1 hour out in the cage, but they say most days they don't get their hour out. Well, you're literally just locked in that box 24 hours a day with no celly. Lucky if you get, get anything. I believe the showers are in the cell, so you don't get out for shower time. They bring all 3 meals to your door. It's real similar to the federal shoot. It ain't no fun. I seen the Cali death row. They was lifting weights and hanging out with each other and said they wasn't even afraid of dying. And here, man, these guys start going crazy because they know they're going to die. Hey, Dixon, salute. Yeah, I mean, so he was trying to kill the CO with that bar, but nobody's, let me see. Oh, I highlighted the wrong one. He was trying to kill the CO with that bar, but nobody's what's going through the inmate's mind at the time. Yeah, shit, murder is going through his mind. He's for real trying to kill something. You know what I'm saying? Walter, what's up, Walter? My partner OG Hanson right there. Salute, bro. I had to look at that picture and figure out who that was. What's up, Walt? No, yeah, smoke them. No celly, nobody to talk to. They're on death row. They're just in there with some books, a little library card or something come by if nobody sends them anything. But Texas had a big scandal with the death row inmates one time. So where a guy was locked on death row and he had a cell phone and he called like a state senator or congressman representative, something like that. And he literally threatened the dude like, hey, if you don't help me get out of here, I'm going to do something to you or whatever. And then said who he was. So, of course, they sent the laws to shake down death row, and they found phones. And then the crazy part is after they shook down everything, they said they found a phone later on the same day. Like somebody had already got a new one. Marco, so when he got the crime of passion, did that mean he got found not guilty or he just didn't get as much time? Like, was he let go, released, it's over with, or did he just get like 5 years instead of 50 or something like that? Richard, what's up? Richard, salute. So we're live on Facebook. We're live on my personal Facebook, Texas Prison Stories page, Texas Prison Stories group. We're live on Twitch, on Twitter, Instagram, and on YouTube. So I'm getting comments from everywhere. If y'all don't see who I'm answering to. Ashley, what's up, Ashley? Hope everything's going good. And yeah, Marco, that's kind of crazy right there, though. Let me see. My bad, I hit the wrong button. Hey, Oscar, that Fire at the Walls unit was amazingly big, man. I mean, that place. So if you ever seen the Walls unit, I know a lot of people have. It's so old right there in Huntsville, Texas. The Walls unit has them big, giant brick walls around it, like on TV or something. And that thing is a death chamber when it catches on fire. I guess the only thing that'll save a prison is the fact that most walls are brick, brick or metal. But I think the walls still had an old school roof on it, so it did some damage. Appreciate you, Walt, man. We need to link up, bro. I'll come pick you up one day whenever you want. Gotta be after work, though. Yeah, I know it. I'll start highlighting the one that I actually answer back to, right? But Cali death row inmates are now being sent to 180 GP yards. Yes, that's how it was here. And man, I want to say in the 70s or something whack. They weren't in GP yards, but they had an actual yard where they had a day room and jobs and everything. And they would walk the yard amongst population, but they had their own cell block, but they might work with you or something like that. And you know what? They slowly but surely just took everything from the guys in death row. They had a big escape and they stopped all that, put them over in Polanski unit. It was called Terror Unit back then when they did it, and just slammed them down. Which I tell you what, that's a whole nother level of torture, right? 20 years of a slow death on death row. Wow. Why you know it's coming. Like you literally don't have nobody to joke and mess the day off with, play you some cards and basketball, none of that. You're locked in that box, man, just thinking about what's going to happen. So I've been told some amazing stories too about self-mutilation from the guys on death row. People like chewing their own veins out of their arms, people slicing themselves, unbelievable, removing testicles, removing penises. Like there's been some crazy stuff with these guys on death row. And it makes you always wonder, like, were these guys this crazy when they were out in the free world, or did death row do it to them, or is it a little bit of both? I always think it's a little bit of both. Hey, Marco, one time back in the day, one of my old homeboys, he drove by his chick's house about 2 or 3 in the morning on his way home from probably another chick's house, to be honest with you. That's how crazy it is. But he seen a car over there and he knew what dude's car it was. He busted inside. He hit the first dude. He laid down. I remember that. And then he went inside and he burned that dude. He had like a space heater. He grabbed a space heater and he took it and burned it across that dude's back and like messed him up pretty bad. And instead of wanting to fight, the dude that got burnt just rolled over and was like, ooh, he didn't want no smoke after that. My homeboy cursed a few times and we went out to the car. He started rolling a blunt in the car. And while he was out there rolling that blunt, the guy that got burned ran outside with one of the fillet knives that you cut the fish open with. And if you've ever seen a fillet knife, y'all know that thing is sharp as a razor blade. It's like a long razor blade. So when my homeboy seen it, he jumped out. And they had a real knife fight for minutes, right? The dude was even stronger. My boy said everything in his body was just pure adrenaline. But he stabbed that dude it was either 7 or 8 times. And he buried his knife the entire way. And then when he finished, he got up and called 911 himself and said, hey, y'all need to send a helicopter. The guy's fixing to die. And when the cops actually came and everything, he had got in trouble for going in there and smashing a dude with the heater. But he did not get in trouble for stabbing him because that was self-defense. And the police considered that a separate incident. It was already over. He was out in his car. That guy came out aggressive. So he did almost kill that dude for real. How do you manage to stay cool? So in our reality, most times you just can't stay cool. It's too hot. You just gotta. So summertime in a Texas prison is what they call fight seasoning, right? Fight season. Hey, Brittany. And it's fight season just for the pure simple fact that everybody's so hot, they're agitated. Most people in prison spend an eternal state of being hungry, right? You almost never have enough to eat unless you're in there selling drugs or something like that, excuse me. So imagine people in an eternal state of being hangry, they call it. Then it being about 140 degrees and they're 130 degrees. Temperatures just run so short. It's amazing. San Antonio, salute. Michigan salute. That's what's up. Appreciate you watching, man. I hate to hear that. Your son's going to TDC soon. Nothing I can do. These kids don't have a clue these days. Well, in our reality, so it's not like it used to be in the old days, at least. You know what I mean? Me and Kryptonite are gonna do our next episode about that, maybe tomorrow night, about when he went down in the 90s and in the 80s. White people would have to go and fight Hispanics, blacks, and white people. They would have their patients tested in every way, right? Nowadays, it's not like that. They haven't understood, and they're not trying to annihilate you or stomp you out or anything like that. So if a man just goes in nowadays, keeps his respect, anybody that messes with you, realize at first they're probably just testing you, and just tell them, hey, never believe that BS where you say walk up and punch the biggest guy or no shit like that. You know what I mean? But you don't let even one guy play with you when you get there. Not even slightly. Even like a crazy joke somebody cracks that you feel was about you or something, you have to say, hey, was that about me? You know what I mean? Like, so if a person, hold on, let me take a drink. Let me talk about this, right? So I was talking to somebody whose family member is in prison just like yesterday or day before. Their family member is on Torres unit in Hondo, Texas. She told me that over there, some of the Tongo dudes are running wild, right? They're dominating the prison and they're taking over some of the weaker inmates. And I told her that's strange because I never really heard of them doing that. It don't seem like their style, you know what I mean? But I told her, what is a man doing inside of a prison being considered the weaker one? Because size, physical stature, muscles, none of that is what considers you being a weaker one, right? To be considered the weaker one inside a prison, you got to be dumb, you got to be naive, you got to be timid, you got to be basically scared. And that has nothing to do with size, right? Some of the baddest dudes I know that were willing to fight everybody are little guys. And it really don't have anything to do with being young either. That was something she said, because young people are wild, right? Look at a young boxer fighting an old boxer. The young boxer has more energy, more wind. The older one might win from experience, but the young one has attributes too, right? So prison is a fucked up place, but nobody should be in there weak. So Barbara, I see you, Barbara. Thank you for them couple bucks you sent too. I needed that. I appreciate it. But prison, I don't understand. Like, who are these weak inmates, so called? I'm not trying to disrespect anybody. Like, what kind of charge could you land yourself in prison with, where you're not considered tough, or you don't consider yourself tough, or something, right? Like, maybe DUIs, maybe like some guy that's never been in a fight in his life. He's from a good home, never been around violence, any of that. Maybe he's got 3 or 4 DWIs and he goes to prison. Now, I could see him having a culture shock. I can really, really see him having a culture shock. But I can't see him just automatically being a coward, right? Who knows? He might be the realest one ever. He just never ran into nothing. Maybe it's the pure drug addicts. I don't know, because I've seen it happen from a variety of people with crimes. But when people come in with robberies and shootings and stabbings and assaults and all this, and they're considered weak, that's crazy, right? You know what I mean? Yeah, Brad. So like I say, small guys ain't automatically weak. There's some weak big guys. But it's hurtful when I hear people's families saying so many men so often are filing life in danger. They're trying to go to protective custody. They're going to safekeeping. Like, it's usually a bunch of guys that just crashed out, man. They didn't land there well. They didn't make a good first impression, and they could never rebound. That's why the first impression is so good, important. See, there you go. Danny, I talked about it, right? There was oh man, Ash and Emmy's always talking about this dude. I need to do a story about him. So there was a white kid that went to Clemens unit when they were doing the youth offender program. All right, George Bush, the old governor and ex-president, George Bush Jr. He was president. I can't even talk. He was governor in Texas, tough on crime. He, under his administration, is when they started really certifying a lot of kids as adults. Kids with violent crimes, 14 and up, were now going to adult. No, it's not Paris Bennett. It's the other one. I said his name the other day. I think of it. He committed suicide. But anyway, Rodney Yulin, that's his name. Rodney Yulin was a kid that was nonviolent. He didn't cause a lot of problems or anything like that, right? But he was kind of slow. Rodney Yulin lit something on fire. He lit his neighbor's trash can on fire. He was just playing around as a kid, and the fire started burning a fence. The fire department had to come, and they gave Rodney Yulin time. They certified him as an adult and sent him to an adult prison. And in this adult prison, there were children and there were adults in different wings, right? But they had one wing for them. Rodney Yulin was getting abused. He was getting raped so bad, getting extorted, getting handled so rough. And he had been calling, or not calling, there wasn't phones, but he had been writing home. He'd been writing I-60s, asking for help. Like, it was really, really bad. And he just ended up killing himself, right? Rodney Yulin was somebody bad, screwed by the system. Like, there's no way he should have been on Clemens with murderers, robbers, kidnappers, people that were doing arsons intentionally. He was basically a troubled kid. So Rodney would have been one of those weak ones. You know what I mean? But another kid his same age that came out of one of the hard ghettos that watched his mama be a prostitute and his daddy in prison too, probably would have came in and excelled. You know what I mean? I say it all the time. It's the reverse world, right? Man, salute, family. I don't see too many Galveston ones in here. That's what's up. Much love from Lamar. You already know. But yeah, there's so many men that go in there and they don't know what to expect. They don't know how it's going to be. It's almost like they never even watched one prison movie before. And now they land in here. And to me, that's the tragedy ones, right? That's the tragic stories. And those are the ones that go in there and get turned out and get robbed and sitting on guys' laps and all that type of stuff. They didn't even know that type of stuff, exists. And the next thing you know, they're doing it. You know what I'm saying, Rob? I appreciate that, my brother. Salute. Thank you. Okay, salute to Louisiana. Look, Center, Texas. I've been to Center, Texas before, man. Let's see what that says. Most COs are angry and think they tough and lazy and don't care about us on the inside. So, you know, there's a breed of CO, and everybody knows this, right? There's a breed of correctional officer that thinks they're an inmate. Have you ever seen that? I know some of y'all have seen that. They literally walk cool. They talk like inmates. They use the slang, the swag. Probably go home acting like that, right? And normally those are the ones that are the coolest. There's been correctional officers known to throw their uniform down and go in the cell and just box people. I knew one myself that would do it, you know what I mean? And he was good with them hands. That's why he didn't mind. You punch on him, he wouldn't say anything. And his ranking officers wouldn't say nothing if he had a cut under his eye because they already knew what time it was too. He demanded his respect. But you know what? For the simple fact that he would go in there and throw hands with people, he was well respected, and nobody would jump on him or do anything to him. Another inmate would stop it and not even be in trouble by the other inmates because he was cool. The one in that video the other day, though, you see this older cat rushing up on this inmate. You see his head animated. You see him pointing at him like this. And then when the shit gets real, it looks like he puts his hands down by his side and he starts trying to be threatening immediately. And right then is when he gets knocked out. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. I never want to harp on them, right? My daughter, her grandmother was a 32, 33-year CO. She said in her entire career, she never wrote a case unless a man made her write one. Like he literally had to force her, right? Do something in front of other officers or whatever. She did say during them 32 years that she was one of the officers that was not cool with the guys masturbating though. She said she let that be known. If she come onto a new cell block, new place or whatever, she would tell them, hey, you pretty much do whatever you want over here, except that. You know what I mean? And a lot of guys don't like that, but they'll respect it. They'll respect her being honest. See, Brad, now that's wrong though, right? Because if you catch that fade, if that CO willingly catches that fade with you, then it's supposed to be over. That's wrong right there. I ain't gonna lie. And that guy that got knocked out on Bill Clemens' unit, he looked like he was almost daring that dude to do something, right? Imagine daring somebody to do something that ain't got nothing to lose. You're insane yourself. And you know what? I don't know about any CCAs anymore. We say a CCA in Wackenhut prisons, but I don't think so. If there is, I don't know about them. I had a video visit, and Sarge went to get my husband. And he had the towel up, taking a bird bath, and dropped the towel and asked, "Oh, you have a visit?" Why? Because it was a female Sarge. I don't really understand that. Used to bust spreads. Nah, hell yeah. Bro, I seen a million cops. Not a million, but I seen a bunch of them bring things to put in on the spread. They know who can cook. You know what I mean? Ellis unit. Shit, Ellis unit's been hardcore since the start. It's still hardcore. A lot of people have lost their lives on Ellis unit, including one of the ex-wardens and one of the ex-captains, I believe. Ellis unit is the one famous for they would take you down to the river bottom and kill you and say you tried to run away. They tried to do that to a black man, and they had him spread eagle butt naked on top of the car. He wrestled the gun away, shot the boss, ran over there and drowned the warden with his own hands. So they caught this. This is how crooked TDCJ is. Let me show you this. Warden Wallace Peck was drowned to death in the Trinity River in his attempt to torture, punish, and kill an inmate illegally. And they still named a prison after him. How is that okay? Think about it, y'all. Warden Wallace Peck and his subordinate took a man off the premises of the prison, stripped him butt naked, put him on top of a car, put a gun in his mouth. He managed to wrestle it away, kill one with the gun, and then drown the warden with his own hands. Said the warden fought hard as could be, but he won. And they named a prison after that warden. How is that okay, Ash? Your dad is at a prison named after a warden who tried to kill an inmate. Now, why is he celebrated instead of his name erased from history? Alex, state jail is basically the same thing as prison, basically, except it's day for day. And it's only 6 months to 2 years. So you can be sentenced 6 months or up to 2 years, and no matter what, it's day for day. So yeah, it's usually rock and roll. I'm sure it has calm times, but for the simple fact that state jail it's a lot of petty crimes, right? Like real small drug possessions, less than a gram. I know a lot of people are going for evading arrest in a vehicle, burglary of a building. Those are about the things that you see in state jail. How many stories from prison did you think they were actually innocent? So I never met anybody inside of prison and I thought they were innocent. That never happened. I'm going to be honest with you. I met people in prison that were way over sentenced, though. There was a guy from the Southeast Texas area that he was hiding under a house from the police. They sicked the dog under the house, and the dog was literally ripping him to shreds. He shot the dog, and they gave him like man, I want to say it was 120 years or something for shooting a police dog. Then they shot him. When that was almost, I guess you can't call it self-defense, right? Because that's a police dog. But damn, think about that. I've seen guys in the feds under those unfair crack laws. One of my cellmates in the feds in the shoe, his name was O-Face. He was from Waco, Texas. O-Face was on the spectrum, like all the way on the autism spectrum, right? Like deep on it. And O-Face had 2 stacked 20s for like small amounts of crack, like real small amounts. And he was just hit under that harsh penalties, that they said Joe Biden helped write. Yeah, Kim. So I mean, no, they don't care about you in G5, not at all, not even slightly. They never have, they never will, and nobody should ever expect them to care about you in G5. That's just the sad truth, and why I tell people this ain't the life you want. Like, if an inmate is G5, he done something, you know what I mean? Or he got accused of doing, he got framed of doing something, whatever it is. It's pretty serious, right? If you skip medium custody and you went straight closed custody, and the people G5 are the worst of the worst. Like, these are the bad actors inside of a prison. So, hell no, they don't care about them back there. So that probably was the same one on Beto. Yeah, that shot the police dog. Where was he from, man? He was from some little city around Beaumont. Black cat. He was a Crip too. Man, what was his name? We called him his city name, but I can't remember. It's been a long time. Wish I could ask Dale. That's probably the same one though. We were on K Wing together when he was there. How often have I seen Contraband CO? Well, I'll be honest with you, right? Never, ever will you see one doing it. Like, they're smarter than that. But I've been in prison a million times where it's there. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, how else is it there? Shit that's so only a certain amount can come in through visitation, right? A man can only swallow so much, period. And that's what they do. They swallow it in visitation. I ain't giving no game away. Everybody knows that. That's why prisons now have body scanners and all that type of stuff. So the more that they crack down on inmates getting in contraband, the more that the officers can charge. So they win, right? By stopping you and visit, now they can charge you more for what they can bring in. So it's happening every shift, every prison, everywhere. Period. Not every one of them, not at all. So it's just like this. Look, in society, you have a small number of people that are willing to sell drugs, rob people, rob banks, kill folks, do whatever. You know what I'm saying? So, and the prison guards are normal society. Like, whatever percentage of the normal population are criminals, the same amount of percentage of them are. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. The real truth. Salute. The only boy I played with in prison was your daddy, man. I ain't gonna lie. But I had to get on his ass at first. He wasn't taking baths, man. He thought that was gonna keep him safe. You need to send him some money too. Oh, see, that sucks right there. Look, 25 years for 5 pounds of Reggie. Well, that's real life effects. That's sad, man. My little homeboy right now just hit Ferguson unit for like 2 pounds of grass. Think about it, man. Yeah, supply and demand is amazing, right? Wherever there's a demand, there's always going to be a supply. I don't give a damn where you're at. We could put people on the moon right now. We could establish a moon colony and guarantee within the first 90 days they'll be smoking moon rocks. That's just how the world is. Now, Delta 8 is not to be messed with. I ain't gonna lie. I seen some people so turned out on that Delta 8, Delta 10 stuff from the gas station, and they're failing drug tests for other substances. Yes, it's what's up, Al? Salute. I like football. I just don't really have a team anymore. I used to be an Oilers fan. I never really took to the Texans, but yeah. So there's people around here smoking that Delta 8. Man, they're strong on that shit. Like dope, man. It's crazy. The real deal. I ain't never seen nobody so strong out on that real shit. That fake Delta 8 is gonna be like K2 all over again. They're putting other stuff in that, man. Be careful. Let's see. Best story I ever heard is CL respond to someone asking about bringing in contraband. He said, I don't ever want my kids to look at me in that white uniform. So yeah, right. In my experience, so the ones that don't want to get looked at in a white uniform, but they still want to make some money, they're the ones that bring in the tobacco. Because in our reality, if a Texas guard is caught bringing in tobacco, 9 times out of 10, they just lose their job. And they usually let them resign. You know what I'm saying? They really do. Zay, what's up, Zay? You want to come hop in? Boss lady, salute. Everything's good, man. My daughter's doing great. She's getting so big right now. My daughter's at that age where she's like, I can do it, daddy. Man, anything, Mike, no, I didn't, man. These young cats need to gear that up, man. He knows how I feel about that. But also, you got to understand these cats in this entertainment business, people underestimate the power of that pedo, the money he has, the shows they promote. He's coming back and he's gonna take over, man. It's really fixing to happen. Like we're fixing to see the return of the pedo, and it's gonna be a triumphant return. It's amazing. No, I don't think Yolanda's making parole ever. Yeah, y'all hit them 3 buttons in the top corner and hit that thumbs up fun, man. We're just having fun. Let me go grab this other beer. I'll be right back, y'all. Yeah, that's the thing. All these rappers know what's going on with that man. It's just if they come out and shun him, they'll shut their careers down. Big Tony, shout out to Big Tony. You know what? Big Tony, the Houston rapper, the Hispanic cat. Big Tony is Five Dudes Hoover Crip, but he's Tongo Blast too. And that's the real facts. Do you know Big Tony is the first Houston rapper to ever come out and just say FSPM? Gotta give him his props, man. He said it on an IG tweet. He said, I'm Tongo Blast and I don't mess with them weirdos. And here's the truth. I think that Tony's career might be over behind that. You know it? Like, for real. Hey, Steve, yeah, I do. You watch that? I really do. You know what? So I got to about episode 50 or 60, 65 or something like that. Y'all, if y'all want a good show to watch that's free, there's an old soap opera show. I know that sounds crazy, right? But that's one thing men do in prison is watch Young and the Restless and all that. There's an old soap opera show called Prisoner, Cell Block H. And if you've ever seen the show Wentworth on Netflix about the women's prison, and most people have seen Wentworth, that's actually where they got their idea. Hold on, Zay. Yeah, so the Netflix Wentworth is an imaginary prison. They got the name off of this show, and these women are brutal. Like, it's literally some 80s type soap opera shit. It's low graphics, and yeah, the one in Australia. Man, that show is awesome. Smoke them. When you gonna start making some more videos? Dropping some content. Yeah, you know you lose weight back there. Zay, what's up, Zay?
Salute, salute.
Let me turn this volume up so I can hear you, man. What's going on, bro? Oh, he froze up. Can you hear me?
Man, I'm good, man. I'm blessed. I can't complain.
Yeah. I think your internet is messing up a little bit.
I can hear you.
Okay, now I can hear you
Internet
right there.
probably slow.
Hey, did you see any of them videos that I dropped out? Them security videos when I'm fighting the laws?
Is, is everything slow? I think everything is slow.
Hold on. Hey, try to come out and come back in. Something ain't right.
All right.
Something ain't right there. My bad. Almost 700 episodes. So you don't know what content to do. hmm You know what I see making the most money that's crazy is the women sitting on TikTok. Excuse me, just wearing sexy clothes. These guys are the number one suckers I've ever seen in this world. They send them money over and over and over again. Yes, they've been there for a long time. The five dudes who was in Houston from the southeast side and some of them from the southwest just got in. They had 32 of them get indicted a few months back, maybe about 6 months ago, with pretty much the main one in H-Town was part of it. They caught them boys with switches, fentanyl presses, all kind of stuff. Zay, let's try it again.
Yeah, it should work this time. I'm on my phone now.
You was on the Wi-Fi?
I was on the laptop. I was trying to laptop out, but something wrong.
Okay.
Put it back in the pawn shop and go give me another one.
We'll try it again after this and see if we can't figure it out when we ain't on the air. Hey, did you hear about them five dudes cast from Houston catching that indictment a few months back? They caught 32 of them.
No,
It
I
was some of the cats. Did you see the Real Tune TV episode where they had them Hoovers in Houston and they was in that Hoover house?
no, but I always heard of a Hoover House.
Yeah,
Somebody,
they was showing it. I don't know if that video had something to do with them getting indicted or not, but it probably did because they was literally showing organization. They was showing all kind of stuff. They caught them boys with automatic weapons, some switches to convert them, fentanyl. Uh, man, they had every drug there was. They had pill presses and shit, and 32 of them, dog. All of them facing some major time playing with that gang shit.
and that's why I say a lot of times people got to watch what they put on YouTube because you can put something on YouTube be incriminating and stuff like that. People like the internet. That's the bad thing about the internet. Think about the King Von and all these cases and stuff that's coming up because people making songs about murder and all these cases. And I don't know. That's
Man,
the
I
new.
was paying attention and watching. That was when I first got home from the feds when all them rappers in Fort Worth was beefing. It was Go Yayo and CJ Casino and J Dub and all that. You remember that?
Yeah, I remember.
They
Yep.
found look J Dub was the most disrespectful one of all. They found him laying on the side of somebody's house, dead with an assault rifle where he was getting ready to put in some work, and they popped him.
It's like he was about to pull up and try to get somebody, and they wind up catching him.
Yeah, I think he was like trying to sneak around their house or something. They seen him and popped his ass, dog. It's just that's how Lil Bing was. Somebody was asking about Lil Bing, the Mexican rapper from Pasadena the other day. Remember Bing?
Yeah. I was locked up with niggas that was kin to that nigga and like that knew him. He from the southeast. Yeah, he won the Mexican Crips and stuff. Yeah, I know.
Right. So Bing was OG Crip for real. He went to, life without parole and he got down with the blast. And for some reason, he let them click him out. Like he's not blasting no more. I don't know if he's back five deucing or what he's doing or just kicking it with his people. But I know he had told some folks that prison shit was hard for him because he grew up with black folks, dog, and he's down with the Mexicans now. You know what I mean? He couldn't eat with his homeboys. He couldn't do what he wanted to do. So he's one of the few people I heard that just dropped it, dog, got up out of it and said it ain't for him. You know what?
Nah, for real. You don't see too much. You
Nah, but hey, I gotta respect that, bro. Cause listen, you're doing life without parole. You gotta figure out what's best for you, right? You gotta figure out, man. I don't know. I feel more comfortable over here, whatever. So it's it's a real life decision, right? Might make people not like them. They might not care. They might been cool with it. I don't know how it goes. I need to get an interview with Bing on the phone. But a Texas prisoner ain't even allowed to do YouTube videos on the phone. It's a major case.
Yeah. You know what I'm about to say? Like a lot of times, like being in gangs, that it's a headache in jail because it's always your gang always got something going on. I used to hate it when I'm like, bro, the Bloods, we always got something going on, bro. Like, bro, I don't want like I'm not in the mood for drama today, or I'm not in the mood for have to grab this knife and none of this type of stuff. So
I know.
yeah, I ain't gonna lie to you, man. Like advice for people, don't go to prison, first of all. But second of all, if you do go to prison, you know what I'm saying? If you're not in the gang, leave that alone. You know what I'm saying? Stay away from that and mind your business. You know what I'm saying? That's the best way to go home. And mind your business out the way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I tell the people the difference. We showed up gang members since we was little kids, right? But I would never recommend somebody trying to go in there and join one. Hey, I got one of them videos. It's from Bill Clemens' unit. I want you to see it. Tell me what you think about it, right? You ready?
All right,
Y'all
all right.
tell me in the comments what you think about this video right here. This is the one where I said, so this, let me explain it real quick, Zay, because I know you didn't pay attention. You weren't even here. They just dropped out 3 surveillance videos that the laws leaked out, right? They're not supposed to be out. They're unauthorized videos. They recorded them on their cell phones and then sent them out so they could be showed. The other day, I want to say Thursday, an inmate made the news on Bill Clemens for attacking an officer. The officer had to go to the hospital and all this. And they were making this inmate sound vicious and evil, like he was trying to really hurt something. So check this out and I'm going to show it, all right? Can you see it?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I can see it.
It'll clear up. Now, you got to remember, they're filming this on their cell phone to a TV. Look, he's pointing. That's the officer on the right there. Inmate is in a non-aggressive position. Now, look at him step to that inmate's face. Tell me that ain't a fighting position. Inmate tries to move and he follows him. Look. Think about it. Inmate takes a step back, bro. Officer takes a posture and stance, puts his face forward like look, what's he? Did you see him bobbing his head like he was yelling and screaming? And did you see him just get knocked out his socks?
He's asking for that.
How's that okay? See, here's what people said, right? They were like, well, no telling what that inmate said. It don't matter what that inmate said. That's an older man right there. He's probably got stripes on his shoulders from being there for years. You can't be in a position like that and get offended by what somebody says. You know what I mean? That's like right now, if they come in the trolls and in the comments, call me a booty bandit and all that type of shit, which they will, and they already have. I can't want to fight these people, right? That's a prison guard. He's supposed to be bigger than that. But we say all the time, they're humans, bro. Like they got emotions and you can push their buttons. And nobody knows how to push a guard's button better than an inmate. They're bored. So that is the one that started off the other ones, right? And let me see if I can get it up. I'll show it. I got to upload it on my phone right here. The other one now, that's what I'm saying. So that one had the staff looking bad, right? Ferguson unit comes back the same day, later that day, I believe, and drops a video with an inmate attacking a woman to try to counterbalance for the shit. Then Hutchins unit drops one, and it was really bad. Y'all give me 1 second. I'm getting ready. Zaydog, tell them about your YouTube channel and stuff.
Man, go check out my YouTube channel, man. Zaydog 400, man. Y'all show love and support, man. Shout out to Tim Snow. He always showing love and support to my channel. I'm forever rock with him. Good dude. I don't care what the trolls say. They, how they do, but they gonna do what they do. Man, keep praying.
Man, we don't give no damn about them, man.
For real. They
Not
just wasting it.
So I got this one coming right now. Hold on 1 second. It's uploading. This one is the one that came out yesterday. This one, the inmate is bad wrong, right? I ain't gonna lie. The dude, check it out. So the inmate laid on his floor and he played possum. He like unresponsive, I guess you'll say. So the law coming in and checking on him, thinking he's okay. He comes out, pushes past the police, and then grabs some type of piece of metal off the food cart and beats the law like 20 times with it, right? It's pretty brutal. So I just let it play. This one, I'm sorry, y'all. It's kind of smaller. You'll see him come out, and then he runs past the officer. Look, he tried to stop him. He tried to pull him. He's run past him, and he's going to grab something. He's got a bar in his hand right now. You see him hitting him with that thing? Hits him over 20 times.
I ain't gonna lie, he had that plan.
Yeah, he had that plan. That was a cold-blooded, calculated attack, and that's what I'm saying. See, what I don't know, and the info that they didn't release, right, was now did this guy like have a personal beef with this officer? Was he just trying to get any officer? Was this a check-in move to get off that wing? You know, I don't know what's going on. One of the most famous prisoners ever was this cat named Tommy Silverstein in the feds. Tommy Silverstein slipped his cuffs and killed the officer. It looked almost just like that. But he said that officer had been harassing him for a long time, right? He said he didn't have it in for no other officer, just that officer. So I'm bad wondering if that was this situation here. Like, is that officer somebody that goes around like badgering people, pestering people or not? You know what I mean? I really don't know. So here goes the other one now. You'll probably recognize this one, right? So this is Ferguson unit in the medical right here, where the guard sits at the desk in medical and it looks like the cage is right here in front of her. So check this one out. This one, he's dead wrong too. But check. So hold on. After you watch this, I got a question for you, okay? And the people going might judge us or might not. But so check it out. This is Ferguson unit. You see the other guy getting out the way? They said that's a medical person. That's like a CNA or nurse or somebody running over there to help. Kind of looks like a CO to me, though. Some people in the comments from other states were wondering, why is this CO not in a cage? Why is she not protected? But it's like that all over the prison. They're not protected.
They be right there. They the ones that let you out the cell.
Well, California, the guards have a catwalk where they walk above you. Our guards walk with you. All right. So you ready for the question?
Yeah.
So Zaydog right here, my man, has been to Ferguson. He's been standing right there before.
I was in that little cage when you got to go see the nurse and shit.
Absolutely. Yeah. Every prison has that cage. He's been right there before. He stood in front of that desk. He was in that corner. Now, if you was over there waiting to go see the doctor because maybe you had a earache or something, right? Or whatever's going on, and that man takes flight on that woman, what are you going to do?
The same thing that inmate did.
You going to get the hell out of there, huh?
Get out the way. I'm going to get out the way. That's none of my business. That's, first of all, it's like gangs in there. You feel what I'm saying? Like a lot of times them is laws, they got, yeah, that's them. And hey, what I look like trying to help a police officer. That's like my homeboy's gonna get on my behind because they're gonna be like, what you doing, nigga? That nigga whooped the law and you was helping them. Oh, so you a law too? You in the same category. Like, I wouldn't have helped it. I ain't gonna lie, it's over with. Now, don't get it twisted. I seen where niggas they help the law though. But me, I'm not doing it. I don't even care. Like, she could be, I ain't gonna lie, it sound messed up. She could be the most sweetest lady. I like, that's none of my business. It's certain rules up in there. But don't get it twisted. I seen big homies where this facts. Anybody was on Beto with me and get in the comments. Y'all tell me if y'all know what I'm talking about. It was a field squad lady, right? and like somebody this one dude, he was a catch out move, like you said earlier. People do this, they'll take off on a guard to try to catch out because they owe so much money. So that's what he did this morning, and you could tell, like you could, like we kind of looking at him like, what you doing? Like he was looking nervous, like he already playing, like, man, I must take off on one of these guards. But he picked the female, the weakest link. So tell me why, like some OG Crip niggas jumped up and start whooping that nigga, whooping him. You feel me? Not to be about the prison stuff, but that was one story that I seen inmates actually like help a guard.
So
Like,
I got a homeboy, rolling 60, super OG, murderer, real gangster, right? A convict all the way that will kick your motherfucking ass for that field boss lady he was in love with.
look, the one I'm talking about, what's it? What we used to call? Oh, Big Como. He was on Beto. I don't
That's
know
what
if
I'm talking about, bro.
that's crazy. Like Big Como, and it was who else had jumped in that fight? I want to say
That's who did that you talking about? That's who I was talking about, Como, with the missing front teeth.
Chop Shop, I think his name. These four work niggas, man. Like, and I was cool with them. I fuck with them niggas tough. You know what I'm saying? Like, when she go down and all that shit, they be like, man, I know Baytown ain't on no bullshit. Let me go talk to the people that's not level headed. You know what I'm saying? Calm them down. Cause me, I'm on some looking at it like, boy, I'm not about to get into no bullshit.
So
Or
I
like,
know Como, listen, Como was one of the most square business gangster, all the way convict by prison rules and all that. But yes, he was one of those inmates where the police will get in his ear and say, hey, I know you got a life sentence. Go whoop this dude for me. And guess what? You gonna get your motherfucking ass drugged to death fucking with Como because the law asked him to do it.
Big Youngster, I don't know if Big Youngster was on Beto too. Beto with you.
I
He
don't think I
old him and like Big Youngster, Como, like that's the Crip ones that I know, you know what I'm saying? But they
yeah.
and then one thing over there, like on Beto, like one move, we all move, even with Bloods and Crips, that's how they is. With the laws, it's like they don't get no win over there. Like that's when I was there, like it was crazy. Laws was steady getting beat up.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. It happens all the time. You know what I mean? It's like a crazy. I got something I wanted you to see. Hold on. This ain't something you ain't ready for. Let me see if I can pull it up. Hold on. Crazy ass dude right here. Where's it at? You know what? So I wanted to show you these though. I can show you this. I don't think I deleted it. The overlays. Did I? So look at this. Look at that Beto Chow.
Huh?
Remember that?
Yep. That child hall was big. I ain't gonna lie.
And they had two of them, and they were huge.
Yep.
Look at that.
Yep.
Showers.
Yep.
Here's one for you right here. Look.
Right there.
You see that? Can you see what it says?
IJK.
IJKL.
Yep.
That's the crash gate to the north side. Look at
Mhm.
this. That's a real life Beto day room.
Yep. It's crazy. That day room looks familiar.
So look, tell them what it's like literally living in that little ass place right there with another man.
Man, you better
That's a
hope
real actual Beto cell right there. That's not from anywhere else.
you got a celly that you could relate to, somebody you could talk to, somebody you comfortable with. Cause if not, man, it's gonna be hard. A lot to you.
So this the look that you barely get to see. This pulling up to it on the bus. That's what it looked like. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I tell you what, those pictures right there probably will be taken off this right now and put on Google. But them pictures are pretty exclusive, right? Nobody else has them right there. But that's the real deal. And sometimes we need to see that type of shit just to remind us. You know what I mean? Look at that child hall, man. That shit is horrible. You know what I mean?
Right there.
Yeah.
It's crazy because I got G5 because of that child hall right there. We had a ride with them all. We had beat the laws up, man. I ain't gonna lie. We had came from underneath them poles. Yeah.
Somebody in the comments said, "Do you got a shot of coffee?" He got something for you.
Nah, for real. You got a suit for me? I get
Hey,
those
I'll be right back.
we used to call it coffee balls. You get
8 ball. We call them 8 balls.
yeah, you get a little eight ball of coffee, man. Nah, for real. I ain't gonna lie, we used to exchange stuff like that, like stamps. Everything everything got a price on it.
Hey, I'll tell you something crazy. Look, when I was in the county back in the day, what ain't crazy, it was player, right? This cat came from Fifth Ward. He got caught up visiting some girl down here in Galveston. And you could tell he was like a real OG cat. He did a bunch of time and he was cool. Like he wasn't weird or nothing. We liked him, right? Everybody liked the dude. But he came in with $4 on his books, and that was it. $4 that he got caught with in his pocket. A bag of coffee cost $3.50 back then. He bought a bag of coffee and one soup because they were like 50 cents. Do you know within about 2 months, he had the biggest store running in the tank. He had money. He was eating. He was doing everything he wanted off that one first bag of coffee. Flipped it.
Yep. You gotta think about it. It's people up in there that don't have nobody. You know what I'm saying? They people are gone and they be hustling. I ain't gonna lie, that's another thing that I just seen people to beat up guards. And like you know how it be like shakedown and you ain't got no receipt for something.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Bro, I ain't gonna lie, them convicts, they don't play that shit. They be mad, bro. Especially if that's all they got and they be doing 2-for-1s and stuff like that. Bro, they'll
Property
snap
slip. I forgot. That's what you got to have too.
property slip or like the commissary receipts and stuff. Yeah, if you got a radio, you gotta have property slip, fans. That's crazy.
Do you remember back in the day? I know us. They would when you buy your shoes from commissary, they'd write the number on them in a big marker. Write your number on them. Remember that?
Remember they put them inside your like the inside of your the tongue of your shoes. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? There. Yep. And on your fan, they something like a tattoo gun, but they'll put your number on your fan too. But
Oh,
all
they engrave it. Yeah. Radio too.
and then get a real tattoo gun and mark your TDC number on there.
Hell yeah. Somebody asked a comment in the questions. They said, "Is it possible for anybody to have it smooth and easy in prison?" And I say, yeah, absolutely. Because my very first video I ever said or did said that all prisons ain't the same, right? Like there's minimum security prisons too. We just talk about the maximum ones because that's where we was, but they have minimum, medium security, and then they have maximum security. So yeah, I mean, you can go to a minimum security prison and still get beat up. Don't get me wrong, like you can bring it upon yourself anywhere, just like you can out here. But yeah, there's people. I mean, so I was talking about that a little bit on one of the videos I did yesterday. That your time 9 times out of 10 is how you make it. You know what I mean? Young kids going there wild. They don't want to listen. They get crazy. But there's older men that might be 20, 30 years in the joint, never even had a disciplinary case. Like for real.
That's that. You not lying. It's all about how you do your time, man. You go, mind your business and stay to yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially if you're not in no game, it's way easier. If you Mexican or white boy, they might still hard check you. Get that shit over with and stay out. Just stay out the way. Stay out, mind your business.
Yeah, so I feel like in all reality, dog, that all people should expect going to prison at least fight once or twice or 3 times, right? Like that's mandatory. Gonna have to do it when you get there, especially, but you don't have to fight your entire time in prison. It ain't like that. You know what I mean? Like he said, if you're not dealing with gangs, the number one thing that's gonna get you fucked off in prison is arguing behind some gambling, like literally rolling dice. I've seen people that are friends now, they're rolling dice. 5 minutes later, they're fighting in the corner now, and they're friends after they roll the dice, right? And they fight. I've seen people, yeah, playing games. Period. Gambling, poker, all kind of shit will get you in trouble. Smoking, doing drugs.
Yeah, facts. But back for too.
Do what? Oh
Is
yeah. Hell
mag.
yeah.
I don't tell you, bro. You could try to not foul nobody, do everything this that one other, but the way they talk on the basketball court, hey man, you better have strong skin, bro.
Look what
For real.
Curtis Luck said. He said, "And fucking with that TV, right, man? Trying to watch what you want to watch."
Basketball court, them things you do not play with. Like, girl. And don't do nothing to get us on lockdown. Some stupid petty. If you gonna get us on lockdown, make sure somebody getting life flighted off here or serious. Like, don't get us on lockdown for some petty stuff. We don't play that. Especially if you're in the game, you're gonna get DP or violated for sure. Like, they don't play that.
Oh, that's facts. Yeah. So basically, what we're saying is, if you go in there, mature, grown ass man, you can stay out of trouble. I mean, shit'll find it. Like people, so you might just be walking down the run, right, and somebody's having a bad day and say something fucked up to you, and you got to respond. That can happen, but that can happen out here. Happens at the gas station. It's happened to me since I've been free at the gas station. People say crazy shit, push me out of line. I'm like, what the fuck, you know? So it's just so it's. I don't know, man. Living in prison is like living in the ghetto in our reality. Like, you know, people are bored in that motherfucker. They need some shit. What's you gonna say?
I say number one rule: don't get comfortable either. I seen so many people. They first week, maybe even a month, they'll be in their cell chilling. They'll come to the day room, might watch a movie. Then next thing you know, they getting comfortable. And that I seen a lot of people getting in fights because they see that one person can talk like this to that person, and they think they could play with them like that.
Yeah. So you know, I would hear cats when I first got there. They would play the B game, right? Calling each other the B word, the H word, and all that. That shocked me at first, but then when I realized these dudes are close friends, right? They're playing. They don't. Nobody else better not say it to them, type shit. But it still shocked me. You know what? That was a trip, but I've seen. So the level of confidence you see with people that are homeboys in there, they literally like brothers, man. Like they are like brothers in there. And you might fall into this situation and mess with one dude and don't realize he's been here with years with these other cats and they're literally like family and you just messed up. You know what I mean?
Especially them convicts that been there for years. Like you'll think because he a blood and he a crip and he a folk, man, they been here years with each other. You feel what I'm
Uh,
saying? Like, you don't want to mess with it. Like OG Trip. I don't know if you ever heard of OG Trip from Beto.
yeah.
Like with like OG niggas, like the Crips loved him. You know what I'm saying? Like it was so many people that loved him. Like even the laws that raised him. But one dude he stole from him. And that I ain't gonna lie, that's the worst mistake ever. Cause guess what? The laws, Captain Foreman or whatever, he rewind the cameras and everything. I think that
For
was
real.
Yeah, he rewind the cameras and everything for Trip. And once we found out it was a UV, it was I don't know if UV was over there when he was there, but we smashed UV off that unit. He
What is that? Who is that?
UV,
I don't
it's a
know.
name UV Universal. He used to be like a 5%er. He used to be like a Mandingo warrior, all that stuff. But once he was messing and stuff, they but other ones was messing with punk. They just wasn't getting caught.
Hey, let me answer something in the comments. Somebody said maybe don't go to prison. Ever thought of that one? I'm gonna answer that honestly. Hold on. I'm gonna answer that honestly, right? When I was young, no, I never thought about maybe don't go to prison. I was living a life where I expected to go to prison, and prison was normalized. Every person that I knew, loved, looked up to, they were in prison, going to prison, come back to prison. So now, at that time in my life, maybe don't go to prison didn't even make sense to me, right? I was committing probably 50, 100 felonies a day, living like these other people out here. Like, and that's not a exaggeration. I didn't even think I would live to see the age of 30. So worrying about going to prison was not on the top of my list at that time. And that's just the honest truth. Now at 40, 43, the hell no, I ain't going back to prison. So that's comment that you left was fucking actually stupid. But I appreciate you leaving 2 comments for the algorithm. Somebody
Yeah.
said they threw the soap down in prison. Hope, was you butt naked when you threw the soap down?
That's crazy, man.
These
They
people
just
weird, man. AR-15 is out, man. I need to get them to come back on the channel. Somebody, I think you asked that the other day. AR actually beat that case. They dropped that case for lack of evidence on, and that was good.
you said
Yeah.
AR-15.
Look, same people that say don't go to prison. So when this live started, fam, I was talking about the men that go to prison and didn't know what to expect. They're filing life endangerment. They're doing all this weird shit, right? Like that'll be the ones drinking and that'll be the guy right there saying, "How about you don't go to prison?" He fucks around and gets caught touching on his little niece, or they catch him riding back with them rocks from the hood, whatever he's into, and now he's in there and he's fucked. Because guess what? He tried not to go to prison and he's there. We didn't care about going to prison, and that was the sad fact, you know.
It's crazy. Most people go to restaurants and they get them from the drink. They get them from daiquiris or margaritas or whatever. It can happen to anybody.
You
I
ever
done seen
seen
it.
that movie Shot Caller?
I think I did. I think I did. It, it,
About
it, it was in Brotherhood type. It was kind of like in Brotherhood, but I don't think it was in Brotherhood. But like it was like a white supremacist gang type stuff.
Yeah, the guy was a businessman and he was had a party celebrating some big victory he had in life, and then he ran the red light and killed somebody and went to prison. But he went
Mhm.
in there and adapted and literally took over, right? That was a good movie.
Yeah, for sure. But that can happen to anybody. I was just watching a video where a sheriff daughter got pulled over and she hit a one of them lights, the red light, green light, yellow light, stoplight. You know what I'm talking about? So she hit one of them and she kept lying about it, lying about it. Then she was calling her daddy, calling her daddy. Her daddy came and was like, "Oh, I'm not about to save you. You about to go to jail. You driving under influence. You know what I'm saying? You about to go to jail." But it can happen to anybody. That's what I'm trying to say. Like
Oh yeah,
anybody.
that's what I'm saying. So them people in them comments with that shit right there, that is lame as hell. They're trying to troll. You know what I mean? So even though I knew it was a troll comment, I wanted to answer that so people can understand that we didn't accidentally go to prison. You understand? It was not an accident. We're not here claiming to be innocent or victims or nothing. No, we was active gang members selling drugs, carrying guns, running around. We were doing everything that you're not supposed to do in society. And at the same time, we didn't care. Like we weren't embarrassed of it, we weren't ashamed of it. We got big giant gang tattoos all over our body. Like you can't shame us now after the fact. So that will never work, right? We've embraced this. Now we use it to teach people why not to do it.
Yeah, they told us when we was young. All right, you sure you want to do this? You sure you want to gang bang? Because and they used to tell us what come with it. See, nowadays kids they never got put down with gangs. None of that. They just see somebody else's gang and they be like, oh well, I'm this. You know what I'm saying? And nowadays most of them they get put down. They didn't get the rules. They didn't have no big homie tell them, look, this what comes with this, and this is how you supposed to do it. So not like we already, you know. Nowadays, these kids, like, I mean, they probably do because probably they seem saying they uncles sisters and stuff like that. But and nowadays, these adults, us adults, I'm gonna say me too. We don't tell these kids nothing, man. Like so, shit, they raising themselves. I see that every day over here for sure. Where I'm
So
at,
you
you
want to
know.
hear something crazy? Look, there was a cat today. He's my neighbor, right? He's out there yelling, screaming, arguing with some cat on the phone. And he's saying, I whooped you yesterday. I'll whoop you again. You ain't nothing. I ran through you, blah, blah, blah. Like they're arguing. And then he starts yelling out, this is 6-0 Crip. This is 6-0 Crip. I'm cripping, blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? He's young. He's probably like 19 or 20. And I heard that. And I'm thinking, man, this dude don't even realize who's living up under him. Like, I've been cripping longer than this man has been alive. You know what I mean? Like when he came into the world, I was already in jail type shit. You know what I mean? But I ain't never gonna go out there and try to teach this young man nothing, right? Never gonna try to give him, because when you're in this shit, involved in it, it's your life and everything. You don't want to hear that at that time. That's unfortunate. Like I said, we were not really giving a damn, and I'm listening to him be the same way. And sometimes we just gotta, hey, you know what they used to say in prison? Sometimes you gotta spank that baby. You know it. Sometimes life just gotta pop you on that ass before you realize it. Sometimes it takes 10 times. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my partner, Prisoner X, right there. He's Prisoner X is, hold on, look at this. My bad. Prisoner X is coming live in the chats from serving a life sentence. He's been down like 24 years right now, commenting in the video. Right there, dope.
That's live. Was that him on the other video you did the other day? He had a mask on.
Yeah, he
And he
can't show his face.
live like TDC. The way they explain it now, scaring me. I ain't gonna lie. It was bad back then. I ain't gonna lie. It was bad when I was there too. But the way they explain it now, like they not eating like they supposed to up in there. They was
Hold on.
saying
So
some.
look, let me go back to this weirdo in the comments. So now, yeah, y'all don't block them. Don't time them out, Brad. Let them. So listen, if you're my moderator, don't do shit. Let me talk to these people, man. That ain't cool. He said nobody made us join it but ourselves. That's right. We wanted to. Like, that's what you don't understand, brother. You're not gonna shame us for this because we grew up wanting that, right? We're not here playing victim. Nobody here is saying feel sorry for us. We was in prison. We're not saying that. I know you're somebody who I don't know who you are or whatever. I'm giving you way too much time, right? No, nobody made us that. Matter of fact, we joined and we wanted to be the best at what we was doing. That's why we're multiple trips in prison. That's why that boy's telling you he's been to TYC, why he's been to Ferguson, why he's been to Beto, why I've been to prison 3 fucking times. Like, man, we ain't here playing innocent or nothing. We're literally just sharing our experiences to try to teach these dumbass people that have 1 foot in, 1 foot out that are gonna go in there and be the weak one. That's what this is for. You understand? You're coming out of your suburban area. Your mom bought you a car when you turned 16, probably paid for your fucking college, judging us. It's just a different life, right? You can't understand us and we can't understand you, and that's gonna be the last time I respond back to that dumb motherfucker. But Max, what's up, Max? Spark Plug, G County, salute from Lamarck, man. Boy, it always excites me when I see somebody from G County in here, man. It's always somebody I don't know too. But
I
nah,
be
so yeah, nah, my bad, bro. But I'm just saying these people come in here, they judge because they haven't seen the body of work that we put down, how we actually try to deter this shit. And not only do I try to deter it, I try to expose it, right? I will post hidden what do you call it? Shout out to Bay Cliff. I will post internal security videos. I will talk about when they kill somebody or do something, but I will also show it when the inmate is dead wrong and he's attacking people like we did earlier. You know what I mean? I will talk about the jack off game and how they do these women and how the women get tired of it and write them up. Like it's pure foulness. Like me and Zay will never ever tell you that is, yes, you'll have fun days, you'll have party times, you'll have shit like that, but the overall experience, it ain't nothing good about it, and we're not here glamorizing it. So I'm just starting to get buzzed now. My fault, bro.
ain't nothing worse than you can't flush your toilet. Like they didn't turn the water off and stuff like that, and you can't control it, and you stuck in that cell, and you gotta defecate. You gotta use the restroom, and you got two choices. You can either use it in the bag and try to throw it out the window. It's gonna might land on the run. Then you got one row they gonna complain about it. You know what I'm saying? Or you could use it in that toilet and cover the toilet up, but guess what? Your cell still gonna stink. You know what I'm saying? So like we've been through stuff that most people can't even phantom, or even if they was in them shoes, they'll break and fold. They're probably all them people that commit, you know what I'm saying? Like God bless them, you feel me? Because we ain't glorifying none of the evil stuff. But God bless the people that committed suicide in prison that couldn't take prison. You feel what I'm saying? That because they couldn't control it. You know what I'm saying? They didn't, how can I say, they wasn't strong enough. So went to prison, don't bash them. You look at them and be like, he went through something. You know what I'm saying? And God chosen people, guess what? Most people that God loved went to prison, went through something. You know what I'm saying? So and we shouldn't judge. Neither one of us should judge each other. You feel what I'm saying? Okay.
No, that's facts. But as so here's the deal too. when I first started doing this, bro, I don't talk about it a lot, right? When I first started doing this, I was still on parole with the feds. And my homeboy Sandman got me a video with this cat in California, right? They titled the video and made the thumbnail said White Crip rolling 60 from Galveston, Texas. And that video hit big. It got a lot of views and a lot of attention. At that time, I had already had my baby and been like, hey, you know what? Fuck that banging type shit. I'm finna try to be this dad right now because I realized I need to be the stronger one out of this mother-father relationship. It's on me right now, right? And I just knew this from day one. But bro, do you know when that video dropped out, I got pulled over 7 times in a row? Like that shit, this shit can hurt you, right? But as I started coming out with more and more content, when they're realizing I'm going a different direction, I'm not promoting gangs, I'm not doing nothing. There's times now where I'll see cops and they compliment me on it, or they say they like what I'm doing, right? But when I first jumped out, this caused me a lot of problems. Even my dad one time said something about, we were arguing. He's like, well, I ain't the motherfucker been in and out of jail all my damn life. I said, well, congratulations. I said, I am. I said, but I'm where I need to be right now. And, you know, I'm a hell of a man. I said, matter of fact, I embrace it. I said, I'm getting known all over the world right now for being in and out of jail. Pops, like, make a couple bucks doing it type shit. You know what I mean? Like, you can't shame me into this, is basically what I'm saying. So it's, bro, look at this, Zay. I went to a field trip with my daughter about 3 weeks ago. She's sitting there in her they got their little squares where they sit on the carpet, right? Her name is marked off with some little tape. She sits right there. Somebody said something about their mommy, and she blurts it out loud as hell. Well, my daddy is a truck driver and a YouTuber. And I got embarrassed as shit though, right? Because something I would never go to her school and be like, I'm Texas Prison Stories guy, Tim. You know, I never introduced myself just like, so this is something that I do embrace, but at the same time, I don't go around talking to people or bragging about being in jail or having a jail related YouTube or nothing like that. You know what I mean? So it's good and bad, but bro, this all comes down to this is not the life you want. You got people judging you that don't understand you. They'll never believe that you changed. They'll never believe that you're a foreign man. It's always going to be hard to rent an apartment. You don't really want your kids to know the whole truth about you type shit. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It's Woody. What's up, Woody? You want to jump in the show with us? New Life with Woody, man. Check this out. This Woody is a white cat from the East Coast that he was a Jay Williams cellmate, man. And Woody got a good swag, dog. Woody's makes you laugh and he's cool. If he wants to jump in, come jump in.
Sure.
Look, smoke him. I'm trying. You know what I mean? Woody, bring it. You want that link, Woody? Come get in. Let me see, y'all. So Woody has a channel too called New Life with Woody, obviously. And Woody's one of them white dudes, just like Jay, right? Where they're still white. They're not black or anything like that. Just like I'm not, but they're hip, dog. Like they're cool with everybody. They're not on no Aryan type of activity. You know what I mean? And I peeped that about them like immediately. Okay, Woody, it's all good, man. You can get on the next one if you want to. Whenever we're just kicking it.
Homeboy like that, man, it touched my heart though. He wound up coming home and he wound up murdering his friend, his friend wife and they child. I was like, bro, and it was big. It was on Houston news and everything. Allegedly, you know what I'm saying? That's what he did or whatever. But yeah, like, I ain't gonna lie, I was disappointed when I seen it. But he got
Man, I'm
hard.
gonna tell you something that tripped me out, right? When I was in state jail, there was a couple cats that always stuck with me. Like they were some real cats and we was real friends. You know what I'm saying? One of them was Big Randall from McNair. You know what McNair is right there, of course. Big Randall, Big Oak. They call him Big Oak. That was one of my real close homeboys. There was a cat named, what'd you say?
I know who you talking about.
Yeah, big dude.
Yeah.
Big swole cat, solid muscle. You know what I'm saying? Big Randall Henderson, his name, Big Oak. But so that was one of my boys, and there was a cat that we called Studi Wood, right? He had a 5 and a 2 tattooed under his eyes. He was 5 deuce. Studi Wood real name was Ronald Green, and he was skinny, young, maybe like 17, 18 years old. And that fool was so about it. It was unbelievable, right? Like he was all gas, no brakes type shit. And I always told him, because when you get up out of here, you're gonna have to settle down a little bit, man. Like you can't act like this in a free world. You're still young. You're gonna fuck your whole life up. You know what I mean? Try to live life a little bit. Don't. And he, you know what he would tell me? This goes back to them comments. He say, "Cuz the only thing I see with my life is either dying or with a life sentence." He say, "I'm just mashing the gas till one of them two happen." He told me this, right? So I'm like, man, this dude is fucked up. But I understand the mentality. He's still young. He's a kid. So when I get out, a couple years later, I'm watching the Houston news, dog. I'm like doing some push-ups, like watching the news at my house, and it comes on and says, "Man kills girlfriend and locks a baby in closet," or something crazy like this, right? And I'm like, what? So I look up and they flash his face up and it's Studi Wood. I still see the 5 and the 2 right there. I know it's him. I say, damn. He literally tripped out, put the wife and the kid in the closet, killed the wife, shut the closet, and just left. And now he got what he always assumed he was gonna get: life in prison. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it be like that for real. So it be a lot of people. Have you ever seen people? I know you've seen a lot of people. You are like him, for instance. You already knew, like, dang, really, you like you really. It sound crazy. I feel like some people was put on this earth, and like God knew that they were just gonna be evil. You know what I'm saying? Like, and they never gonna learn from their mistakes, and I don't know, they were just gonna forever be a bad apple. I don't know, because it be a lot of people like that. I'm telling you, man. You be like already knowing, like, man, this person, I ain't gonna lie, he gonna either get licensed or he gonna be dead real soon.
That's what they said about me when I was coming up. Like literally, bro. That's what my own mama would tell me.
Yeah, my grandpa told me that. My grandpa told me he was like you gonna you he said you gonna be in prison before you turn 18. But as soon as I turned 18, that's when I went to prison. It was crazy.
He was almost right.
Yeah. But I ain't gonna lie, like it be stuff like that that come to my mind that motivate me. Like, man, I ain't going back.
I
Like, I
forgot
be,
my bro was here. Hey, let me drop this link and see if the homie Hangout wants to come on. Come ask that question live if you want, Josh. I don't know if my friend will come on, Zay. I'd like you to meet him though. His name is Josh. They call him Rascal. He has a channel called the Homie Hangout from California, but he's one of the few cats that is like chill, laid back, like me and you.
on here with you and him before.
Oh,
Like, not
you were, huh?
yeah, I might have not been on here, but I was in the comments.
So let me answer this one. This will be a good one. My bad, my brother. I don't mean to interrupt, but look, Smoke 'em say, and that's one of my day one subscribers right there. I've been going 5 years, and she's at least 4 years in with this channel, and I thank you for all the love. Why didn't we both listen to our family? That's a good question. I don't know. I can be honest. Like, look, when I was young, my father was around, and my mother, of course, but I gravitated more towards my grandmother for some reason. But so at 12 years old, maybe 11 years old, I started smoking weed. By about 12, for sure, I was already selling it. And 13, I was like looking for more money. 14, I was a young runaway. I ran away from home and I didn't come back for a few years. So I literally, instead of listening to my family, well, it came to a point where my family gave up too. Like, there's only so many times. Like, check this out. If you got a light bulb out in your bathroom, how many times are you going to come flip that switch knowing that light bulb was out, right? So I hate to say it, I was heading in such a direction. My brother was already in prison at that age that I think they just kind of gave up, but they realized this boy is hard headed. He's not going to listen. And basically they knew that life was going to whoop me in my ass too. You know what I mean? It just took a lot longer. And then a lot of it had to do with drugs and the influences that you're around. You know what I mean? Like, I grew up in a neighborhood that a lot of stuff would happen. Like, you come outside, it was fast paced. People were doing shit that wasn't right. You know what I mean? I really can't explain why I never listened to my parents. Do you know why you never listened to your grandpa?
The reason why I ain't listen to my grandpa, my mama, and everything. Okay, I ain't gonna make no excuses for it. You know what I'm saying? Because guess what? My brothers, we raised in the same house, so we went through the same thing. You feel what I'm saying? My youngest brother, he graduated high school, went to college, played football. You feel what I'm saying? Like breaking high school, all that. Like I came from, you know what I'm saying? My mom stayed on my behind. You know what I'm saying? She made sure she took care of me. But I feel like how you said, it all started when at 10 years old, I hit that blunt. I started smoking cigarettes. It started there, and then my mama allowed it by her just been like, all right, like my first time smoking weed, she said, all right, you better get up for school tomorrow. That's all she said. So when she said that, it made me feel like, oh, I could do that. I'm grown
Green
now.
light, huh?
Like you start doing stuff because you can get away with it, or you feel like, you know what I'm saying, you grown now. You know what I'm saying? You start doing stuff. And then there's no consequences behind that. You know what I'm saying? Then when you start getting the consequences you so hard headed, like juvenile, for instance, that wasn't enough for me. TYC wasn't enough for me. TDC was enough, but it wasn't enough because you always feel like you can get away, like, oh, I'm gonna just do this and I think I can get away with it. You wasn't thinking about, oh, I'm gonna go to TDC if I do this. You know what I'm saying? You hope you get away with it. But
Man,
actually,
say, you know what? I have a strict rules, where I said I will never tell my child I use drugs, right? Like I will never tell an old story. Oh, daddy used to do this, daddy used to sell that or whatever, because I remember being a child and my mom telling me stories, watching my daddy smoke weed, shit like that. And so when I was 11 and somebody asked me, did I want to smoke? You know what I said? Hey, shit, my parents do it. It ain't no big deal. Why not? I think if I would have been around some non smoking in a different environment, I've seen young kids go, no, I don't want to hit that. No, I don't fuck with that. You know, I've seen kids that don't smoke cigarettes, just like there's kids that do. And it's something going on in our lives where we're predisposed to, yeah, we'll go ahead and try that type shit. You know what I mean? And that's all it is. I don't know. But once you get involved in that life and you're all the way in it, your goals start changing, right? Like there never was a time in my life where I dreamed of going to college. Never even one time. You know that?
I ain't gonna lie. Probably when I was young and playing football, I wanted to, but for some reason I wasn't going to college. I was trying to find a shortcut on the food. Like most people, that's what they do, man. Ooh, like we read books and watch TV and we see these big drug kingpins, Scarface, and all this. So I'm see stuff like that, and this stuff is based off true stories, and I thought this, I really could be rich off of selling drugs or you know what I'm saying, stuff like that, street stuff. I can make money off of.
So check this out. I talked about it on the Donnie Houston interview, right? When I was 12 years old, my mama's house got raided by the task force and it was on TV. They literally brought the Fox 26 news cameras with them all inside of our house and shit, right? So at 12 years old, my big brother is 100% already, like he's 17 years old, scoring 9 ounces of coke like every day, every other day. He's cooking it up himself in my mama's microwave. Like so, I mean, the shit that I was seeing was amazing. Here goes my homie right here. Let's see what's up. Homie, Hangout. What's up, brother?
Hey, how you guys doing? Nice to meet you, Zay Dog. Yeah, I've seen you in the comments before.
I think he said y'all. No, you know what, Zay? I think you was on the video with Gary, not with Josh.
I remember Gary too, but I was thinking because showed love to me when he came on the video and he was like, "Oh, what's up, Zay Dog?" Up in the comments, you know what I'm saying? He was doing love.
Yeah, yeah,
Right,
yeah.
right. Yeah, Josh. Zay
Yes,
is
sir.
somebody. Zay is somebody who is younger than I am. He's younger than you are, but he's got a hell of a lot of experience in the system, man. He went to youth prisons, then he backdoored and went to some of the worst prisons Texas had to offer later as an adult. You know what I mean? He's a lifelong blood gang member type stuff. But my man is real intelligent. He's well spoken. He's articulate, and he's makes a great tag team partner on these videos sometimes. I swear, just like you do, bro. How's everything going out there in Cali? You good?
It's good. Well, remember, I'm in Reno now, so I'm in Nevada.
Oh
But
yeah, I'm tripping. I'm my bad. Look,
but it's good.
my bad. You
I
already know
see.
what it is.
I see. Yeah, no, it's yeah, it's going all right. It's going all right.
That's good. That's good. You asked a question in the comments. Go ahead and ask that again one time.
Yeah, so I was just curious. I heard you guys tell stories, both of you, about individuals that you knew from prison or whatever that just crashed out and killed old ladies and all kinds of stuff. And kids and stuff. I understand the kids, not understand, but I think the kids part puts you in a different category, right? But if somebody in Texas crashes out and kills an old lady, what's that like for them then when they go to prison?
So let me tell you this, right? Here's a crazy story. My cousin is Houston. He's Tango Blast, one of the white ones, right? He's serving 55 years right now for a home invasion, robbery, murder, right? That was literally, he was guilty as hell. Like, he's convicted murder, killer. He's serving his time on a wing where every man on his wing has 50 years or more, right? Nobody on his cell block has less than 50 years. So he has 55. He's got one of the smallest sentences. He wrote me a letter after I did his video, and he said, Tim, man, one of my homeboys want to write a letter, and you read it on your YouTube, right? It's about the conditions of the situation that we live in. And I'm like, cool. So I get this letter, and I don't want to cause my cousin any problems, right? Which would be inside of a prison, because people watch. Not saying he has ability, but other people do. So I won't say much, but first of all, this will show you how Texas is, right? His friend, he's saying, was a black guy, and he's part of a Hispanic prison gang, even though he's white. Then I look his friend up, and guess what he was in prison for, Josh?
Taking out his leg. Oh, yeah, taking out a woman.
Bro, and he put her in a trash can, chopped her up, put her in a trash can, and lit her on fire.
Okay. Yeah, see.
So my point to this is, he's in general population. People still fucking with him because guess what? On that wing where they are, I think they tend to look at it as every last one of us are never going home. None of us are going home. What the fuck you did out there don't matter no more. What you did in here does. You know what I mean? And that's kind of how they look at it. Now, we've said this before, right? I've never in my life, so let me ask Zaydog this too. I've never in my life been inside nowhere where a man with a weirdo case or anything like that ever bragged about it, talked about it, or admitted it. Never, right? Nobody's ever raised their hand in the day room and said, man, I killed 3 kids and their mama. But at the same time, if you're not in a gang, nobody's going to be doing no deep diving and investigating into what you are or why you're there. You know what I mean? Because the way that our shit runs is, we talked about this before, right? It's not race-based. Like, Tango Blast guys don't feel responsible for the solo guys or other people. You know what I mean? Like, they only make sure their men ain't one of those. Crips only make sure their men ain't one of those. Bloods only make sure their men is. So we do have guys for real that slide right through. They lie, bro. They literally say, and see, so this is why I need to get somebody that's been in prison in the last 5 years on here and ask them, though, because at that time we didn't have cell phones. We didn't have, easy access to everything. Now, I'm pretty sure they probably just are bored in there Googling up the new guy. So it's probably different, right? Think about it. No matter if you're my clique or not, I got a phone. I'm Googling you when you come through the door. Anyway.
Yeah, right? Who's in that move next door? Yeah.
So, I mean, let me show you something. This will be something that's good for you right here. This will show you the plight of a Texas sex offender, dog. No lie. So I didn't label it. Let me see here. What you got going on out there, Josh? You all right? Everything good?
Yeah, I'm good. I went to the back doctor on Friday, and they gave me this crazy nerve test. Man, that had me laid out, bro, for like damn near 2 days.
Oh man,
I'm still trying to bounce back from that. That was like acupuncture and being electrocuted at the same time. I feel like feel like I could take a stun gun to the chest right now like a champ if I needed to.
Right.
I'm not signing up for it, but I feel like I got hit with about 9 of them. What we got here?
Hold on. Watch this so y'all can hear this little audio I'm getting ready to play. This is what a Texas sex offender's life is like, right? I'm not saying they're killing them at the door, none of that type, but you listening to.
Instead, I've been housed in Texas's maximum security prisons, like the Michael unit in Tennessee Colony, Texas, outside of Dallas. For over 3 years, I was in cells with the worst offenders the Texas prison system has to offer. I've been in over a dozen unavoidable fights in order to eat my food, keep my commissary, not become somebody's goal. I've been stabbed, sucker punched, and knocked unconscious 4 times. I've been put into the prison emergency room twice, and on August 8th at 11:30 p.m., on my current prison, the Mark W. Stiles prison in Beaumont, Texas, my supposed-to-be secured cell door was ripped open by a 6'2", 220-pound inmate who tried to sexually assault me, which is all caught on camera. And all of this happened while this prison is on a full lockdown. No movement whatsoever. Then on October 5th, 2023, where I live, in my day room, you'll see me struck and knocked unconscious. And as I lay on the ground, I was struck 3 months. Instead, I've been housed in Texas's maximum.
My bad. So look, that'd be the real life plight of them, right? Nah, they ain't getting killed.
Yeah, you sound like you had a rough time.
Right. And so if you're a known one, yeah, you're gonna have a rough time until you end up paying for somebody for protection or you end up riding up under a gang. And guess what? So here's the real true facts. Sex offenders are valuable because guess who will hold your knives? Guess who will hold your dope? Guess who will hold anything illegal for you just so they don't get beat up? You know what I'm saying? Like, they're used and abused, but there are some that it doesn't happen. Point blank period. You know, like I said, some slide through. It just is what it is. So I think the real reason, bro, why it's deadly for them in other places and not exactly here. Like, they'll have a hard time just like that, but it's the simple fact of the punishment, man. In other places, you hear stories about them stabbing folks and getting away with it, stabbing people and just going to the hole and coming back. Here, if you stab somebody and they even live, your ass is going to seg for like 10 to 20 years. You know what I mean? You're getting more time. No, seriously, if he dies, you might go to death row where it's active and they're going to kill you. So we wish like hell we could get away with it down here. Don't get me wrong. You know what I mean? But they started really taking their side, and it's a sick system, man. The same reason we talk about child molesters get smaller sentences than drug dealers, right? They protect them. Why is that?
I mean, I think the reason why they don't get such bad sentences compared to like just neighborhood shit is, and this can kind of go into a whole another sort of deep conversation, but
no, but I want to hear what you say because I've been thinking about this a lot, and you're a very smart guy.
So policing is not about anything other than order, right? The origins of policing is just about keeping order, and it's keeping the order that allows the businesses and the government to keep running, right? So when you're gangbanging, you're telling the public, we can set up this alternate power structure that doesn't have to play by the rules. We play by our own rules, right? That's dangerous because people get to believe in that. People get to falling up under that. We're getting involved in that. And now you're antagonizing the system. You're antagonizing the order, right? Young men and young women are not growing up, going to school, getting a job, working to get a paycheck, paying their taxes, and so on and so forth. Now there's a rebellious spirit, and that is dangerous to the order of this country, right? According to those at the top. Those who prey on children is such a small population of people, you know, relatively speaking, but also it's not like, oh, I heard there's a chomo down the street, I'm going to be a chomo, right? Like, they don't actually disrupt the order. do they terrorize the families? Do they cause intense trauma? Like, again, I'm not saying I agree with this rationale, but for those at the top, they're not a threat, right? Gang members are a threat. Drug dealers are a threat. People who feel like they're above the law or act outside of the law, they're a threat. And the punishment that we get when we do shit is in part for us, but it's also to send a message back to the neighborhood. You gonna fuck around and find out, right? But the wealthy person who does little tax hustling on the side or whatever, that's the exception, right? There's room in the system for that, right? And so I think that's where the difference comes in. That's why you have the lower income communities, the communities of color that get policed on kind of, like I said, neighborhood stuff, whether it's gang violence or it's drug dealing or whatever. It messes up the order. And those who prey on the women and children don't in the eyes of, of the system at large. So that's kind of the shortest way I can answer it, but that's what I think it is.
Yeah, I like that answer. That's, man, so let me ask you something. All right. Now you're third party. So you know me, man. You know me well, right? You know me better than any YouTuber knows me. I ain't gonna lie. Oh, so we talk about the SPM thing and all the time, right? Be honest too. I don't care about if you piss people off. Even you won't piss me off. What do people from California think when they see the majority of Texas screaming free SPM?
So there's some loud people that want to make it seem like nobody in California is rocking with SPM, but that's just not. I've been finding out increasingly that's
no.
just
So
not
I told you, Gold Toes and Baby Bash
right.
was his biggest supporter. But this from a third party stance, damn California, the most of Texas is screaming SPM. Do we look like a sex offender, child molesting ass state when you see this from the third party? I think we do.
I wouldn't necessarily go that far, but is it a bad look? Is it a bad look in my mind as somebody who, like, I stopped listening to R. Kelly? You know what I mean? Like, I'm perhaps petty with this shit. I don't know, right? And I had a lot of fun to R. Kelly music. You know what I mean? But I don't separate when it comes to certain things. I don't separate the artist from the art, right? Because especially this day and age, if I'm streaming your music, if I'm playing your music, I'm putting money in your pocket, right? But if I seen SPM on the streets and I knew who he was and I knew what he did, I would never put $1 in his cup when he's begging, right? And so I don't want to do that through music. I think it's a bad look. I think it's a bad look. I think a lot of it has to do with identity politics. I don't like identity politics personally. I think that's dangerous for this country. The whole idea because somebody looks like me or they're from where I'm from, that all of a sudden they have my best interests at heart and I'm supposed to rock with them. I think it's just a foolish mindset, period. And so I think that's what a lot of it is. No, man, Texas stand up. Okay, but there's a lot of shit Texas to stand up for, and it doesn't have to include him. You know what I mean? And there's a huge brown, and there's a lot of, like the ones in California that support him. It's a lot of raza, right? It's a lot of folks, particularly those, Mexican descent, who are like, oh,
hold on, let me stop you though. Let me stop you. Right. So in all transparency, I did the first video about SPM being a sicko on YouTube, period. I took it back down because I had monetized it to his homeboy Juan Gotti on accident. I was still new to YouTube, and I didn't realize that Juan Gotti and Dope House Records gets the money if I play this. And the thing was, I don't even think I was monetized, right? So I'm like, well, shit, I'm not even getting money off of it. I'll be damned if these Chomo lovers, they get money off of it. So I took that video down. Like, no, that ain't going to work, right? I came back and did a second one on them after I was monetized, but I cold messed the video up. I did bad. I did a bad job. I wasn't explaining it properly. I didn't make it right. And then when I took that one down, American Cholo came out with one where he basically read his paperwork or his appeal or whatever. Okay, but he didn't have a personal touch to it. Like he didn't know Curtis. Thank you, my man. He didn't know people involved in this shit like I do. Like he didn't live 10 minutes away from Juan Gotti like I do. You know what I'm saying? All this type of shit. So when I came back and did the second one, I was and am still the first. I guess Zay had to go. Salute Zay. Was and am the first one from this area, from the home of Dope House Records, with 20, 30 mutual friends of them. So now I see it's just a popular trend, right? Like Gunner's made a bunch of videos about him. I seen JD Delay make a video about him. Capone, we talked about that, making videos. Like now he's just an easy target. But let me tell you something. Doing it right here from his backyard, when we used to fucking know each other, we know all the same type of people, is always gonna hit a little bit different than somebody in a different state doing it. Somebody that didn't know what the fuck they were talking about. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So the reason that I wanted to do it, people always say, well, why did you do it? Think about what he just told y'all. It's a bad look for Texas. Like, so I said, so this is what even got me on this, bro, is you said child molesters are a small number, right? Like are they or are they not? Because I don't feel like you can literally type on shit free SPM unless you're one too. Am I taking that too far or no?
I think I think it's too far because I think there are a lot of people who say free SPM that are not abusing children and would not abuse children, right? So I don't think that's it. I think
can I clarify that then? Hold on.
Mhm.
I feel like if you watched my video, you seen the evidence, how many kids it was, the case that was happening, and you still say free SPM, that's when I question you. If you fall for the line, hook, line, and sinker that he's not a pedo, he met this girl at a strip club and it was an accident, and his 9-year-old is all fake for $20,000, I can understand then you not being one and saying free SPM because you fell for the propaganda. But after you watched and learned everything that happened, do you still think that? Am I still going?
But see, watching and learning are two different things, though, right? So there will be people who will watch your video and still walk away and be like, Tim's full of shit. He did it for the views. He's just a hater. He's this, he's that, right? And so no, I don't think there's many people who will if you consciously say, if somebody's like, look, I believe SPM is the exact person that Tim Snow described him to be in his video, and still free SPM, then yeah, that I think.
So I understand what you're saying, and I believe, yes, lots of them do watch the video. So I get comments that be like, "Man, if this honky cracker ass wannabe dude that's hating on my man," instead of hearing what I'm saying, they're looking at who's saying it, right? And that's just human.
But that's identity. Well, and that's identity politics, right? But if so, you say it, and it's that's because you're a white dude. That's why you're saying it, right? Because all of a sudden,
hey, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something that I never even told you. Do you know SPM's family is from Falfurrias, Texas? Right, that's a place you probably never even heard of. It's on the way to South Texas. Falfurrias is a tiny city, right? Tiny city where my own grandmother was born and raised at, dog. Like she knew his family before he was born, before I was born. Like this is how small and how related we're talking about. Like, yes, I'm white, right? But the woman that raised me is so my grandmother was Hispanic, whatever that makes me, a quarter, right? I'm a quarter Hispanic then. My grandmother is from Falfurrias, Texas. Her first language in life was Spanish. She didn't even learn English till she was about 9 or 10 years old. Lived right there with his family. Like this is the shit we're talking about. You know what I mean? So it's like you might say, "Oh, this is a fucking white dude saying this or whatever," but you don't even realize the person that I loved the most in life before my daughter was a Hispanic lady from his own town where he's from. Like, so people, but I didn't feel the need to explain all that, right? Because
and you don't, and you don't, right? But it's because people, they're going to find a reason to not believe something that they want to believe, right? They're going to find a reason to discount something that they don't want to believe. So in your case, it'd be whatever. Well, you're white, or you're this. They'll come up with some reason for why you don't know what you're talking about, right? And Gunner does a video, right, where they're going to find a reason why. So they're always going to find a reason. It's like the person that you're arguing with them about something, right? And they're always, well, what about this? Or what about this? Or what about this? And pretty soon you spiraled into a whole nother conversation. And it's like, damn, bro, you're doing all these mental gymnastics because you just really refuse to accept the truth of this thing. And you're willing to spin off in a million directions and create a million different conversations. Also, you don't have to deal with this conversation. And I think that's what it is, right?
Well,
I think that's
listen,
what it is.
I'll say this publicly. I did do a live the other day. I even told you about it, where one of the viewers asked C-Dog if he still talks to Gunner, and C-Dog shot a slug at Gunner. Right? It kind of shocked me, but not really. But I wasn't ready for that, and that wasn't nothing I had intended, because I've said it a million times. I do feel out of this YouTube shit on our niche and our genre that Gunner's probably the most entertaining guy. Right? Like, he clearly has a talent, man, and he's good at YouTube. He's comical. He has a personality that me and you don't have. We're kind of more laid back type shit. But when I watched his SPM videos that I seen personally, Gunner Bad had a foot on both sides of the fence. You know what I mean? Like, he's so into La Raza and this is for the gente that I think he was bad scared to just come straight out and say, this dude is a chomo. He would make references to her being a 9-year-old, but then go, that ain't cool, homie, but I don't know, right? No, you can't do that with something like this. You either got to be right hand or left hand. You either got to be fuck this guy or free this guy. It can't be one in the middle. And you got to accept, man, I understand as a content creator why you would do that, right? I could tell Gunner says, I fuck this guy. But his fan base is probably a bunch of them screaming free SPM. And I tell people all the time, hey, if you like that fool, if you don't like me talking about it, unsubscribe. I don't care. I'm not here for you then, right? I'll take that hit, no problem, because 10 people will see me speaking the truth while you leave, 9 more come. So it's not a big deal, but it's just pretty fucking weird and it's embarrassing. And the reason I even started was going on the California prison channels with the Hispanic guys. They showed me so much love, right? Like from convicts' perspective to you, to Gunner, to everybody back like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, they were showing so much love. But I had taken them first videos down and all they would say is, man, Texas weak, SPM still around. You know what I mean? And that I felt the need. So I didn't want to argue every single time.
Right.
But I really felt that was the consensus in how they're feeling about Texas. We're weak because we didn't take this guy out, even though he's in PC. We got 1 million people screaming, free him. It was a terrible look for my state, a terrible look for my area, a terrible look for everybody, right? And I said, man, so if I do a video and it goes big, there'll never again be somebody to say everybody in Texas supports this dude. The whole state is washed up. That's all it was ever about. You know what I mean? That was it. Just trying
and I think you and you are the Texas prison channel, right? And so I think it was appropriate for you to do. Like I've told you, I've been asked countless times, right? What's up, JoJo? What's up, Timo? I've seen a few of you guys in the comments. Sorry, but I'm talking, but I see you guys, man. I think I think it was a good look for you to do it, and the clarifying where people like that are housed in Texas, I think was good, right? Was important for folks to know, because that's not how California is, right? California, those dudes are walking around on a yard somewhere. Now, who they're walking around on the yard with is a different story, but they are walking around the yard with other convicts that don't have those types of charges. And so, but it's also real easy for people outside of the system to, how come these guys haven't done this to this person, and how come this hasn't happened? And it's, you know what, catch a case and go to prison and find out. How about that, right? And so folks want to find reasons to throw stones. Like you've mentioned before, there's a bit of a rivalry between California and Texas. I'll be honest, I don't entirely get it. I don't entirely understand it. Uh, but there is something there, right? Even though there's a lot of exchange, I know a lot of folks in California whose family are from Texas or who came from Texas or whatnot. And I know a lot of people from California that have left California to go to Texas. So, uh, it is what it is. They're two, uh, Western states, two border states, uh, with large populations, very different politics in terms of like party politics, right? In terms of the red and blue, and that kind of stuff. So, very different cultures in some ways. But it wasn't always like that. There was huge overlap. Like Texas and California were kind of sister states for a long time, and that's changed to some degree, I guess, in the minds of some people. Also, though, folks just want stuff to talk shit about and stuff to complain about and stuff to try to make themselves look better about.
So
right?
you know what, bro? Listen, in Texas, West Texas is almost exactly like California to an extent, right? West Texas is just as close to LA as it is to East Texas. Like that's how far across Texas. Right. So as far as California is north to south, Texas is that far north to south and east to west, right? It's really big. So we do have the essays in El Paso and Corpus. Let me tell you something. So I talked about being a young runaway, right? When I was 14, almost turning 15, I went to Corpus. And guess what I seen? I seen Hispanic guys riding 13-inch Daytons, hydraulics with murals on their stuff, calling each other SA and Vato, and they had a whole Hispanic swag, right? That was totally different from anything that I ever experienced in Houston and Galveston. Like here, the Hispanics listen to rap. They have gold teeth. They have black homeboys. They're part of black gangs. It's normal culture. It's totally normal here. Go to Corpus, it was 100% segregated, like where most all black people lived on the north side, right? It was totally different, man. Go to San Antonio, their vibe is lowriders and murals on the car and maybe listening to Kid Frost or something like that, with a mix of them now starting to get a little bit more hip hop culture, right? You would have South Texas, there is no black people at all, no black influence, no hip hop influence at that time. They were pure Hispanic speaking Spanish. North Texas, everybody spoke English, and just like even the Mexicans spoke English up there type. So our state is so big and varied that our culture here in the Houston, Galveston, Beaumont area is nothing even like the culture in Dallas or nothing like the culture in San Antonio. And that's the same way as y'all are north and south. Like, so instead of north and south, we got north, south, east, west, and southeast and central. It's just, but
that's a big ass state. Yeah.
Right. It's just a big state. It's different. You know what I mean? So why the rivalry comes, I really don't know. If you want to know the truth. So when people come in my comments, I'm all the way with it, right? Like, oh, you want to talk some shit? Let's go. But in our reality, I told you, what did I tell you? My own daughter has an uncle serving life. Where's he at? In San Quentin? You looked him up. Do you remember where he was?
Oh, that's right. Where was he? I don't remember now. But yeah, I do remember looking him up. Yeah.
So my own daughter.
But he's in California, yes.
Yeah, has an uncle serving a life sentence in California on one of those 50-50 places. I hate to say it. So he probably is now fucked off or whatever. But he was a solid individual, not a rat, not a hoe, nothing. He really put in that work and serving life.
If he rocks with the white dudes, or rocks with the black dudes, then depending on who he rocks with, that whole 50-50 thing may not mean a whole lot to him.
So he's a biker. You know what I mean? He's a biker.
Yeah, for the money, they don't really care about that shit a whole lot.
Right. So that's good. That's good because guess what? That's Uncle Kenny, right? And Uncle Kenny was somebody that my baby mama said in her lifetime was the kindest, nicest, sweetest man to her ever. Like she said, some of her favorite times in life would be to go visit Uncle Kenny. Uncle Kenny would spoil them, take them to the store, buy them whatever they wanted, treat them like little princesses. And Uncle Kenny ended up burying somebody out in the deserts in California, Death Valley, burying a body out there, right? So you never know about a man. But what I'm saying is, I have no beef with California, man. The homie Hangout is my bro. Whack Deuce was in the comments earlier. Whack is one of my best friends, man. Right? San Diego 60 Crip, one of my best friends, man. There's no beef, but do I feel the need to defend and represent Texas? Hell yeah. When people come,
Oh, you should.
I'm always gonna do it. But no, there ain't no real beef.
And the flip side of that is if I was in the mood to entertain some nonsense, which sometimes I am, right? Then
Real truth.
and somebody came in the comments and they've Texas this and Texas that. Okay, cool, be that, right? If it becomes Texas this and fuck California, okay, well, let's have that conversation then, right?
Right.
And so that's just normal, right? And as I've said from the moment I came on YouTube, really, I have no problem with people representing where they're from, right? And I really meant that in the context more of California and the North and South and that kind of stuff. But the same truth, right? If it's true all the time, right? So that same truth applies, outside the state too. I think it's normal for people to be proud of where they're from, however they identify that. Some people identify their street, some their city, some their county, some their side of town, some their state, some whatever it is that you use to be like, this is where I'm from. It's normal, again, for people to have pride in that, right? Where I object, or what I would encourage people to maybe expand their horizons a little bit, is that doesn't mean we have to be violent against people that are from somewhere else, right?
Right.
So I could be proud to be from California, and you could be proud to be from Texas.
So
and
let me ask you something.
We
Let
can
me
still
stop.
be great friends.
Does that so recently I uploaded a clip. I uploaded a short from one of my neighbors. It's a black guy, right? He was a rolling 60 Crip that he no longer gang bangs. He runs businesses and hires employees and shit, right? He's a productive member of society. But he was talking about during the 90s when before they had safe PREA, this rape thing and all this, right? The real old hardcore days where he was talking about the black and the Mexicans taking turns checking the white dudes when they got there. And it was a real true fact, right? But a lot of people in the comments, because it got about 11,000 views on the short or something, and they all happened within about 2 hours. So the comments just kept rolling in quick. But basically, everybody's calling him a black racist and saying oh, y'all are racist, this, that, and everything. He says at the end of the clip, he admits to, we were on some racist activity at that time, right? Like, he knows it now as a grown man that it wasn't right. But to hear a story about black and Hispanic men abusing white inmates in Texas, and for that to infuriate white Texans was weird to me, right? But for the fact that these black men are in here over incarcerated, over sentenced, right, with white corrections officers calling them stupid N-word to their face. Bro, they would call them the N-word to their face and tell them, you dumb man, get over here, get over there. Right. So, and are we going to ignore all the fact that half the white guys in prison have swastikas on them, right? Yeah. But we're going to call the black and Hispanic guys racist that are whooping their ass and taking their shit. I understand that's everybody trying to put themselves in them shoes and not understanding what's going on. But of course, they're on some racist shit in prison. But so what you're saying with an area and being proud of what you are and everything, that's exactly how prison works, right? Like, so we see white guys with swastikas and all this Nazi stuff on them, and they're not instantly, we hate them to an extent. Like, we know they're might not be our friends, but we know that, hey, that's normal in there. I don't even know how to explain it, right?
Right. They're just doing what they do. That's their gang markings, right?
Right.
It's now their gang markings have a historical component to them, right? But it's I've told a story before, but I go back to this dude Hot Rod from Sacramento. He was a Sacramaniac, and he had a bunch of swastikas all over him, right? And he was like a shot caller for those dudes on the yard. And I seen him one day reading a book, right, in the day room. I could see him from my cell. And he was sitting at a table and he was reading a book on Irish history, right? He was an Irish dude because he also had Irish pride on his lower back, right? So he got swastikas everywhere and he's got Irish pride on him. And if for folks that have any kind of knowledge of the world around World War II, the Nazis and the Irish weren't friends. Right? They weren't on the same team. And so it's kind of interesting to see because you have two competing symbols, right? You're representing two historical competing mindsets, right?
Right.
But that is this hodgepodge white supremacy that we have in the U.S., right? Which is kind of weird because like we took it from other parts of the world, we mixed it all up here, and then we've exported it back out, to Europe and other places, and it's nonsensical. It doesn't make any. It's not historically accurate. It's all bullshit, basically. Um, but it's what people sign up for and sign up to. Well, he gets done reading his Irish history book, and next thing you know, all his swastikas are covered up with like shamrocks and that kind of stuff, right? With 4-leaf clovers and shit. And so he turns around and he tells all the other white dudes within the maniacs, right, the sacramaniacs, that any of them that have swastikas on them need to get them covered up, right? You got to cover your swastikas, man. You ain't gonna be a part of this group from Sacramento and have swastikas on you. And it's because he actually learned what the Nazis were about. You know what I mean? And learned, and hold on, man, they were not my actual people, my actual blood related people. They were not my people's friends.
So you want to hear a funny story? I'm sorry to interrupt, but check this
No,
out.
go ahead.
So there's a YouTuber. They might know who I'm talking about. I ain't gonna say his name because he's never done not a damn thing to me, right? But he's notorious for coming online high and then going saying he's clean, coming back on high, saying he's clean. Does a lot of strange shit, right? And that's facts. But when he first came on YouTube and his entire life through prison, he was rocking Irish everything, right? Because he's white. Mm-hmm. He's Shamrocks. He's Boston Celtics. He's everything Irish. He's Celtic shit. He actually, I'm going to give him his props though, because he did one of them DNA tests where they tell your heritage, and he's definitely not Irish at all. And he came out and said, I'm not even Irish at all, y'all. But that Irish thing was something that they rallied behind, right? These Celtic warriors and all this other type of shit. And so let me ask you something. Do they have the white guys in prison in California that they what is the Viking religion that they believe?
Oh, like the Nordic Norse stuff. Yeah, Odinism.
Do they have that in California?
They do. I think that's more popular now. They were studying they studied this like Celtic language in there, this indigenous language when I was in there. But I've heard more about it in the last 10, 15 years than I did when I was in there. So I'm not going to say it wasn't happening, but it wasn't so prevalent that it was obvious to us that were kind of outside that circle. I think it's more of a more recent thing. Honestly, I think a lot of it has to do with TV shows, right? You had TV shows like the Vikings and this and that. But you know what I blame a lot of it on is in the US, right? White folks have a challenge, right? Because to be white in the United States is to be American, right? You're American. Your history is American history, right? For every other group, right, you have some ethnic origin, right? The tribes of Africa, the indigenous of the Americas, right? It's Mexican culture, even Chicano culture, right? The hybrid. There's something else, right? And in Europe, people still retain their ethnic identities,
right?
It's just a bunch of little ass countries that would fit within the United States, but they're separate countries, right? So it's Ireland and England and Denmark and all, and
Texas covers over 75% of Europe itself if you overlay it.
That's what I'm saying. So, but here in the U.S., and I think this is where a lot of animosity from white people come from, when they're like, "Oh, we're not going to teach this critical race theory, and we're not going to teach this stuff," is because the process of becoming white, right, in the U.S., because Italians didn't used to be white, Irish didn't used to be white. You know, the only ones that were really whites was the English, and the definition of whiteness has grown over time, right, for the labor pool to keep the
Right.
kind of labor divisions. But that process has really homogenized, quote unquote, white people in the U.S., which is a concept that doesn't exist anywhere else in the world. Nowhere else in the world are you white. You're only white in the United States, right? So, is wherever else you go, you're from somewhere, right? Your people are from somewhere. It's only here where you tell white folks that, hey, you're white, your people are from America, 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 America. So there's no history past the fucking Civil War. So what do they have to hold on to? And even that history is a history of incredible racial tension. Because, okay, cool. If your ethnic and racial identity is reduced to the history of the United States, then your absolute ancestors did enslave people, and that wasn't that fucking long ago. You're only talking a couple hundred years ago. Like, so then people push back. Well, that's not my people. That's not my people. But they don't know who their people are, right? And that I think has led to, because people have a need to know their roots, and so that has led to a lot of white folks in this country embracing, especially white young men, right, to embracing this weird hodgepodge of white supremacist values that really doesn't make any sense, and it's just kind of it's a gumbo. It's just a gumbo of white symbols, right? And they put all that together and be, okay, well, this is me. So I'm Odin and Shamrocks, and like, get the fuck out of here. None of this is connected, right? But it's like different sides of the world. You know what I mean? But something
Grasping at
similar
straws.
happened. Mhm.
Grasping at straws. That's it.
Yeah, and something similar happened with black people with this whole like Pan-Africanism, right? That some of these poverty pimps, that weren't accepted by the Panthers, went off and created their own thing with the help of the CIA, right? This idea of Pan-Africanism, right? So we got dashikis and we speak Swahili, but realize those two things happen thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of miles apart. You're talking about very different parts of Africa, right? So but same thing, just sort of grab different things that we know about Africa and wrap it all up together and say, this is what it means to be African. Africa's a big ass fucking continent.
Well, let me say
Radically
something
diverse
about this,
people.
though. So look, when I think I told you this one time, right? So when I grew up, I got a very, very exclusive perspective on that, I would say, because when Juneteenth got recognized as a national holiday, right? Most people had no idea what Juneteenth was. I remember asking Dirty Weather and them about it in California, and they didn't know what Juneteenth was. They just now finding out we have a black holiday, right? Because Juneteenth is a thing that originated and started in Galveston, Texas. I told you that. Texas kept the slaves for 2 years longer here. Right. They refused to accept the defeat in the Civil War. So the North Army landed soldiers here, had a meeting, told everybody they were free. Well, the first original free black slaves crossed over onto the mainland and settled and started establishments right here where I live, right? This was the home of the first ever free black slaves. So a lot of the friends that I have that I've grown up with, I've known my entire life, maybe their great grandmas and great grandpas were slaves. You understand? Like, the connection here is still so strong. Like, these are not people that I grew up with that read about slavery in a history book. They didn't need to watch that movie with Samuel L. Jackson. I can't remember what it's called. They didn't need to watch that. They heard real personal stories from family members. You know what I mean? So it hit us a lot harder. And the only thing I can say about that is one of my friends, shout out to my friend Chelsea. She was actually a Texas prison guard. She might come on the show one day. She explained to me, she said, Tim, so far as I can tell, we're the only people in the world who's had our entire history erased. We have no idea where we're from. We have no idea what part of Africa any of us came from. We don't know if we're from the Sahara, if we're from the East Coast, the West Coast. Like, they literally took our identity from us and gave us white people names. And when she told me like that, it kind of hit me in a different way, right? Like, well, that is real fucked up. Like, slavery's over, true enough, but their zero identity will last forever. And that's so I understand why they're grasping at straws and shit like that, right? It's kind of understandable. But I told you it was probably 5th grade, 4th grade that we were having like a Black History type of thing. And I just told you that my grandmother that raised me, that was my queen in life, she was Mexican lady from Falfurrias, Texas, right? She told me to ask the teacher if they knew back in the day in Texas that they would serve whites in the front, blacks in the back of the restaurant, and Hispanics were not even allowed to eat at all. You know, so Hispanics had it way worse. And you told me one time, I think that was you that told me how Hispanics started being called white on census and shit like that.
It was in Texas.
Can you tell us?
A lawsuit. Yeah, it was a lawsuit in Texas. I'll look it up one of these days, maybe do a video about it. But it's one of those things that you get to talking about it, and people get real sensitive and emotional about it, and they don't want to hear it because no, it's not true. No, it's not true. It's fucking true. There was a Mexican, what we would consider now, right, a Mexican family, but they were over here after the Mexican-American War, and they actually sued in court to be called white because they did not want to be Negroes. They looked at it and it was like, Black people are fucked in this country, right? And Texas at least, but the country, but they're in Texas. White people seem to be not so screwed. I don't want to be labeled Black. I want to be labeled white. There wasn't a thing. And to this day, it's that lawsuit coming out of Texas that to this day is why Mexicans not born in Mexico, right? Mexicans born, those of Mexican descent born in the United States are considered white. And that's why they'll say on the census and all that other stuff, white. Are you a Hispanic white or a non-Hispanic white?
Right.
And that's why, because it was
so listen, so when they tried to be called white, the white people still broke them down into Hispanic white or non-Hispanic white. They didn't
later
let that shit go, huh?
Later they did that. But originally it was in the white people's best interest at the time that they be considered white also. It's just a very anti-Black movement. It was everybody against Blacks, right? So but you could be a light-skinned Mexican, been in this country, speak English, like it was just a very twisted, kind of perverted mindset. And so, but the main agenda was like, whatever you do, just don't get called Black, right? And because under the law, right, it wasn't just racism. The laws were such that you were screwed if you were Black. And so folks didn't want to be screwed over. They saw the game and they chose up in how they wanted to play the game. And they played it in a way that they thought was going to play out best for them and their families and give them the most opportunity. And again, we look at that through the lens of 2024, and it's very different. But I'll find it, man. I'll find it and send it to you, and maybe we'll come on and do a live about it together or something.
No, that'd be dope. So look, Timo said something right there. That's a big reason a lot of them came out to California, because Texas was too hard on them, and I can believe that. We talked about this before, right? When I talked about there being the Texas Syndicate formed in California, my grandmother from my mama's side, they were white, but they were still, what do you call it, traveling fruit pickers. I don't know what the term would be, right? So they were
migrant workers,
migrant farmers. That's what they were. That's the term. So my grandmother on my mom's side, they were migrant farmers, and they would travel from California all the way to Florida during the year, picking fruit from South Texas, wherever the crops were harvesting. And that is why so many people from Texas ended up in California, Hispanic wise anyway. They went there for work because our agricultural area is not near as big as California, right? We have lots of farmland, but we don't have a giant fruit industry that needs to be picked. Like this isn't your orange place. This isn't none of that type stuff. So they were traveling migrant farmers. And one of the stories that I'll remember for my entire life to the day I died is my grandmother. Her name was Joyce. That was my mom's mom. And she passed when I was young, about 8 years old, but I still remember they were in California working. They drove a pickup truck literally from Corpus Christi to somewhere in Northern California. They were working. Her little brother got sick and he died. Their dad was so serious about this boy has to be buried in Texas. He's a Texan. He's born in Texas. He's Corpus Christi through and through. We're taking him back to Corpus and burying him where we'll be able to visit him and we'll be with him. They had to ride on the back of a pickup truck with the body in a wood box all the way from California to Texas with him rotting, him bloating, him
smelling,
with their own brother body decaying in the back of this pickup truck to get him back to Texas just to bury him. The father literally traumatized the entire family, right? The mother and everybody was like, let's just bury him out here. He was like, no, he's got to go back to Texas. And something similar to that, this is way off topic, but I don't know if you ever heard about Ruby Ridge where the feds ran up on that white dude. You know, he had his son dead in that shed for like a week. And every day he would go in there with his son and spend time with his dead body while he was decaying and everything. It's a parent's love. You know what I mean? They have it in mind. When my brother died in North Texas in prison, my mom had to spend a lot of money to get his body back here. Like, it's on you. You know what I mean? You basically have to buy your loved one back from the prison system. And so, I mean, it's a real world out here. And so people think when they see us, bro, that's why I like your channel a lot, right? So I'll tell y'all something about this man right here. This is the homie Hangout. His name is Josh. They call him Rascal. That's his nickname. I usually call him Josh because we're so old now. But in all reality, he has a channel that started prison related, right? Like his videos about his first day in, I think, San Quentin or somewhere like that. It's real popular, got hundreds of thousands of views and everything. But Josh doesn't just stay in the prison box, right? And I tell him all the time that I refuse to come out of the prison box because that's what works for me and everything. But so I get a lot of hate, though, from people that don't understand, right? Like it was happening earlier in this video where they say this man needs to let prison go. This guy got to get over this shit. He needs to stop talking about it, right? I've gotten over this shit a long time ago. A lot of times we've had many conversations where we tell each other we have to force each other to talk about it, you know, but reason I do,
gotta try to find a story, try to find the good in there, try to find the lesson in there or something.
Right. So I try to tell things with a lesson and stuff like that, but you don't. You kind of do other type of content, man. And I'm jealous of you a little bit on that because I'm not brave enough to try to venture out and try something else, I guess. You know what I mean? I'm one of them people that stay in my comfort zone. But tell the people watching right now that's never seen you, really, what is the Homie Hangout? Like, what are we talking about when we say the Homie Hangout YouTube channel?
Yeah, so I would say, what's up, Lucky Loco, Sir Richard? I see a handful of you guys in here. Good to see you guys. So I appreciate that. And like I've said before, and like Tim said, man, we're actual friends, right? So the Homie Hangout, I use Homie as an acronym, stands for Help Others Move in Excellence. I've been out of prison almost 20 years, you know, so I ran the streets, I did all the stuff, and the gang banging in the prison and politics and all that. And I talk about it sometimes, but I don't. I like to talk about other stuff too because I feel like I know actually that for a lot of us, our life is more than the time that we've done. That's a part of it, but we're also parents. We also sometimes have mental health struggles. I'm interested in the law. I do legal work. I like other kinds of politics, not just prison politics, you know. So I'd like to talk about different things, little history stuff, to show that we're not just this one-dimensional thing. Like I'm more than my CDC number, you know. That is a part of me, and it's a part of me that I talk about. But there's more to it than that, and I think there's more to that for all of us. But my thing is not to lecture folks. I don't try to tell anybody what to do. I share from my own experiences. I try not to glorify the lifestyle. There's a lot of stories I could tell, but there's really nothing valuable in those stories. So I try to stick to the ones where there's a lesson, or I'll take stories, that I hear elsewhere, and I think there's a lesson. I don't like gangs. I particularly don't like prison gangs. I don't think that they're good for people in prison. I don't think they're good for people in the streets. So I don't discriminate on that. I'm not a gang member. I never, dropped out. I didn't tell anybody. I didn't wave the white flag. Doesn't make me better than people who did. That's just not my story. I just paroled and thought, man, let me try to do something that doesn't lead me back to prison. And so far, so good. I paroled December 9th, 2005, and I haven't been back except to talk to the fellas in there. And so, yeah, that's the channel, man. We do different stuff. I'm the world's worst YouTuber. I don't always post. I'm not always consistent. I'm trying to get better at it, and that's about it in a nutshell.
So you're lying about one thing right there. He's definitely not the world's worst YouTuber. He might not be the world's most active YouTuber, but neither am I.
There you go.
That's the thing. A lot of people that watch YouTube, they forget that we have lives, that we're not professionals, right? We didn't come on YouTube being a professional. We're not trained in broadcast media. We're not actually marketing experts. We're nothing. We get on here, we talk, and hopefully we be ourselves, right? So you said something right there is one of the reasons why I like you so much. If you want to know the truth, I never told you. He said that he could tell a lot more stories, but there's no value in those stories. There's no lesson to be learned, right? So what he's saying is he could be making a ton more money right now, but his morals and his own fortitude says, no, that's not worth it, right? I'm not selling my soul no more. And that's the same with me. Like, I came on telling losing stories, shit, trying to scare people straight, and he's the same way. So yeah, if y'all follow Texas prison stories, make sure you go subscribe to the homie Hangout, y'all. And he's got another channel called Gang Files and Crime Trials. He does have 2 channels, and that second channel is where he can go in a little bit more about gang files and crime trials. Right. So it kind of is. It's good.
Yeah, that one I'm barely getting on. And you say acted to the end of your bid, Josh? Yes. This one, the gang files and crime trials. I'm getting going on it. No, son, I'm thinking about subscribing to Rascal. Timo, this because I got rid of Rascal Reacts because folks are a little too sensitive for that. So I changed it to the Gang Files and Crime Trials. I rebranded it, and with that channel, there's not necessarily lessons involved or whatever. That's just me covering, criminal cases, criminal trials. So it's just true crime stuff from my vantage point, right? And I tell stories. I have paperwork. I show the paperwork. I put the paperwork on my Patreon. And so that's not a life lessons channel so much. That's more like, man, here's an interesting case, and let's just air it out, or like the Aryan Brotherhood's on trial right now. So let's kind of break down this trial and that kind of stuff. So that's what that channel is. It's more just a true crime channel. Whereas the homie Hangout is try to have a bit of an agenda with that one.
Right. So, I have a second channel too that's just called Tim Snow 409. I have 0 content in it, but I've been bad. I have 900 and something subscribers for no content. That's pretty good, right? I need to start working on something, and I have an idea that I'm going to do that channel too. I'm going to tell you about it. I think I might have already mentioned it. I just need to get more active. And right now, while they're working on my truck, I'm going to be out of work for the next few weeks, right? And we definitely don't get paid when we're sitting still. So I'm going to try to get on a little bit more content and do what I do.
I've been noticing you on here more lately. Yeah.
Yeah, so I go in spurts like when I really need it the most. Like So I have to be motivated. You know what I mean? But I always try to stay on topic, try to stay to the mission. But listen, Josh, I'm gonna tap out. We've been going a while, and I gotta
Yes,
still. Even if I don't work tomorrow, I still have to wake up at 5. I still have to cook some eggs and bacon and probably some cinnamon toast. And I got to comb some curly ass hair. You know what I mean? I got to deal with a little female attitude every single morning. So I'm going to tap out of here, bro. Make sure, listen, the homie Hangout, that's his first channel. The second one, Gang Files and Crime Trials. And they're asking if you're fixing to go live on your channel tonight or not.
Yeah, I probably will. Give me a few minutes.
Okay,
give me
so
a few minutes. I'll probably go
y'all leave this live and go tap in with the homie Hangout real soon.
Yeah, I'll get on there.
Later, bro. All right.
All right, man. You have a good one, brother.
Salute, y'all.